We're back with another exciting episode of Morphy's Games of Chess. Today we got game number 54 coming up in the book. The six-match game held on December 24th, 1858. Anderson's got the white pieces. It's Anderson and Morphy. The two going blow for blow. Here they are, right? Standing toe-to-toe. Here it is. Look at this. Anderson with A3. Can you believe this one, folks? A3. Played by Anderson here and in the 8th and 10th games of the present match. Okay? Now, like we touched on in game 53, the last game we just went over, Anderson had the black pieces and he tried the center counter defense. A little off the, the beaten path. He's trying to bring Morphy down some less charted territory, okay? And here you go again, A3. I mean, I don't know, psychological. He's figuring, well, what's he going to play? And when White plays something like this, A3, definitely you're not thinking of this, because really it goes against opening principles, folks. You got E4, right? You got E4, okay? And as we've seen, wait, hold on. Shredder wants to mix it up. Let me start the analysis so he slows down here. So now you bring your minor pieces out, as we've seen. The bishop, the king knight comes right out. The bishop comes out, and there you go. You're ready to castle, right? Quick development. You castle, king pawn game. All right. You get your minor pieces developed. Look, the queen has a square to develop if it wants, right? I mean, you get your pieces out, folks. You control key squares with this pawn. This pawn coming up, you're controlling D5, F5, right? Controlling the center, getting your soldiers into battle. No different is the queen pawn, right? The queen pawn, you're bringing out, you could bring out your queen bishop. Okay, the knights come out, as you know. The knights could come out, and you're taking control of the center squares. This one right here, D4, you're controlling E5 and C5, right? Queen could come up. Queen could develop in some strange way. Who knows, right? So anyway, what does this do for development, folks? What are you going to do this? You're going to bring the rook over here, maybe? I mean, really, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're basically just saying to black, here, you take the first move initiative. Because A3 really does nothing, folks. It really has no purpose. It's so small, so minuscule, and we're going to see the reasoning behind this. Look, watch this. I mean, here we go. We'll see. Morphy plays E5, right? Okay. Now, other masters have played, and let me finish those notes to this move, A3, just to be thorough here. It says, Anderson played it against Paulson, Leipzig, 1877, and against English, Mackenzie, and Mason in Paris, 1878. Steinitz played it against Blackburn in their tie match in Vienna in 1873. It has since been adopted by Blackburn versus Lee in the City of London tournament, August 1904, and by Mises versus E. Cone, Osted, 1907. So it's been played by other big players. All right. So it's just, I guess it's something that you throw at your opponent once in a while to try to, psych him out, really. You're just psyching him out because he's trying to prepare, trying to figure what you're going to do. And maybe he feels more like being a counter puncher that day. Maybe he just wants to counter. He wants to counter punch, even though statistically, it shows that White has the advantage. He who moves first has the advantage. And here White's kind of throwing it away and giving the initiative to Black, really, because now Morphy takes the center and he's getting ready to bring his king bishop out, his king knight, right? And the old masters state that they prefer D5 opposed to E5, playing a queen pawn game instead, right? It says the text move, in their opinion, is not as good because it allows White to get an inverted Sicilian with A3 thrown in, see? So now Anderson takes, he grabs that. He starts to play a Sicilian now, and you notice it. Look at the moves there. It's like a mirror image, except with colors reversed, right? And this A3 move thrown in. Now, as I said, there's really no purpose except this slight little point, which really, if you're thinking this way, I wouldn't recommend it. You're basically throwing away your white advantage. You know, white always has the first move. He always has a slight advantage. You wanna try to milk that. You know, by playing A3, you're throwing it away. You're really just throwing that away. And I mean, Anderson, I guess, is going for the psychological aspect. He feels maybe his tactics, he can throw him off. Maybe he hasn't tried this yet. Maybe Morphy will overplay, overextend himself. Who knows, right? But the point of this A3, if there is any, okay, he's lucky that Morphy played E5, so now he could get a Sicilian. And the Sicilian, I don't know if we touched on it, the Sicilian in modern times, I think, has the best statistical win ratio against white, you know, out of all the defenses, the Caro-Kann, the French, you know, a king-pawn game. The Sicilian is a real fighting, you're really fighting for the win. So now it plays right into Anderson's wheelhouse. You know, he's a fighter, as you know, a tactician, an attacker. So he'll love to play the Sicilian. So here we go. I mean, this is back in the day, right? But even these guys were at the cutting edge, all right? So anyway, you know, he's got, with Morphy playing E5, he's got a Sicilian, which is something Anderson would love to have, right? So that's why the old masters feel he should have played D5. Morphy should have played D5 and played like a queen pawn game opposed to a king pawn game against A3. And here's what's going to happen now. Look at this. So after Morphy takes back in the center, common standard procedure, right? Centralized knight for Morphy. All right, so what do? Is we got the move at the times in the Sicilian was E3. Okay? Getting ready to bring out the king bishop. And it says, in the ordinary Sicilian, this move for black is played by Anderson in the 9th game below. Okay, so I guess he's going to play that in the 9th. We're only in the 6th match game. Is condemned because after, well, let's switch a rule. Let's switch it a rule, right? Let's see what they're talking about, okay? Let me set it up like this, like a typical Sicilian. This is what the old masters here in the notes, right? In the ordinary Sicilian, okay? Here we go. We get the knight out, right? He gets this guy out, okay. Right, because he played the knight out. Here they go like this. This move isn't so good, okay, because after E6, move 4, it says comes knight here, knight to C3, and then they bring out this knight, okay, and here you got, look, knight to B5, the move, exclamation point. Exclamation point. We've seen similar when Morphy played against Paulson. He finally dug up this move. They played it. They played different variations, and then eventually Morphy ended up finding knight to B5 in one of their games, which worked out well. Okay? Little different position with the bishop. Black had his king bishop out, and the queen came out. Okay? And I think he grabbed the B pawn and he got a poison pawn. We talked about poison pawns. He got into trouble, right? But anyway, what they're saying, what I'm getting at, okay, is that with the normal Sicilian, white has this move, which is better for white, okay? It's better for white. Now, let's go back. Bada bing, bada boom, right? Let's flip it back to our game. Got to flip that board around so you see Morphy's perspective, right? Here we go, right? A3, throw it away. Here we go. Think of it now as a king-pawn game with A3 thrown in. Okay, here we go. The knights come out. Normally this is D4, but we're playing an inverted Sicilian. It's D5. They trade in the center. Centralized knight for Morphy. And now with this guy coming out, well, if this, right? If this comes out, okay, and I guess the same moves as before was this, the other knight comes out, right, and then you get this one, you can't hop the You can't hop the knight over here. A3. You see? The slight, subtle difference. You see that this pays off now for Anderson in a little, in a slight way. He can't play this. Okay, this is the best move for white when colors are reversed, but now he's got that A3 in this mirror image, right? So this is where they conclude. Is it worth a win? Really? And remember, folks, Morphy could have played this. And what did A3 mean? You can't play A3 hoping that your opponent plays a Sicilian, right? Plays into the Sicilian. You can't predict that. It's not in your control, right? So anyway, the old masters pointed out. So here we go. We get the let's get into this specific game now, and we'll go right into it. Here we go. We had this. They trade, right? And after Morphy takes the pawn, centralized knight for Morphy, and then we got this E3, and it says, like I said, right here, the old masters. I'm not making it up. In the ordinary Sicilian, this move for black, okay, as played in the ninth match game below, is condemned because after blah, 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 like I just showed you, Anderson's opening, of course, does not allow black's knight to make the last move, which would have been, knight to B5. Okay, so there's A3 serving some purpose, all right? So let's see how it goes now. You got Morphy bringing out the bishop, supporting the knight in the center. Okay, here comes the other knight. And Morphy developing the bishop to protect the E-pawn. See, the E-pawn's hanging, folks, E5. Right? He protects it with the bishop. They say the bishop to E7 is the normal developing move of this bishop in the true Sicilian. Okay? So I guess you'd bring the knight here, okay, Shredder likes it there. If you bring it up here, what is he? He could pin it. Yeah, see, he could pin it. Okay. So I guess the logic is this. You bring this here. Look at this. Now Shredder likes it too. See? These two, I'm telling you, they built Shredder's brain off of Morphy. I'm telling you, it's got to be. Whoever the scientists that built Shredder, they must have been big Morphy fans. All right, now he's saying to take that. But okay, let's go with the champ here. He plays bishop to D6. All right, supporting the E5 pawn. And here we go. Bishop comes to E2. Morphy, right? Morphy suggests pawn up. Knight takes knight. Okay, because if he jumps back, folks, right, they say that white could open the game with D4. Okay, he's doing good now. He's got both bishops ready to come out. White, he has both bishops ready to come out. He's striking in the center. Okay, who knows, though? Who knows? Look at the evaluation. It's anybody's game, right? But okay. Okay, this line, they're giving, Morphy suggests to hit the knight. Now, again, you're playing A3 as white, right? You played the A3 pawn. Now you played E3, and now you're playing E4, which is a move you usually can make in one go, right, folks? But you're wasting tempos. All right, so now they give taking instead of going back to F6. You take, okay? And they say to take back with the B pawn. The immediate advance of the queen pawn also deserves consideration. All right, so they're saying this is something white could have played. I mean, look at the evaluation. Anybody's game. They're just recommending. I guess they want to have... Shredder likes taking with this. The old masters, I guess they want the pawns in the center. You get more center control. You're going to eventually play D4, right? Maybe you get a pawn duo. Here you go. Look, here you go. You get the pawn duo. See that? Controlling all these squares, folks. As white, that's key. You want to do that. You want to try to control those squares. Now, black's mission would be to try to chisel at them. Attack that center. Try to get at least one of them to move up so you get a hole. See, they're controlling these 4 key squares, right? Black's finding himself cramped. You hit with C5. Let's say he advances this guy, right? Okay. So you move your pin. You put him to work. You pin. Maybe you'll even chop him off. And you're controlling this guy. See that? You know, all right, you pull him back, keep the pin going. And now you got, at least you got a hole, right? You got this hole. Maybe you put the rook here, you bring the knight, you leap the knight here, okay? You're controlling the dark squares in the center now. White had to push d5. See that? He pushes d5. And he gives you, you know, he releases the tension on e5. See, and that's where you could bury your pieces. Okay? That's the idea. You want to chisel away, maybe trade off those pawns. Like this, White has good center control. And you got to challenge him, or he's going to run away with the game. You know, remember, you got to control the center. If you do, and you go for the attack, you got a good chance of it succeeding. If you don't have control of the center, look out. Your attack's going to dwindle. All right, so let's go back. And this is, you know, the old masters like to capture the knight with the B pawn and go for the center, right? Center control. Now, it's funny because if you look at it, Shredder likes to take with the pawns. Maybe if I let it run, it would come up again, folks. The more you let these things run, work it out, maybe he would come to the same conclusion. But at this moment, he likes to take this way, you know. And then, okay, you go after the bishop over there. Go for the bishop here, I guess. All right, he doesn't want to relinquish the bishop. And, okay, he comes in. Takes over that diagonal. See that maneuver? Look at this. So now he's coming in. Now he's controlling that. Boot him out of there. He goes back. All right, so it's a game, folks, right? It's pretty even Steven here. You know, anybody's game. I kind of liked what the old masters did with that center, right? But Black's got ways of fighting it. Black's got ways of fighting it. Right after this, yeah, you don't even have to take, I guess. Or do you? No, you don't. Something like this. See, again, remember what we said. You do that, okay, he plays the bishop there, only square, but he seems to be all right, see? Look at this. He's all right, but now you see what you did as White. You released the tension in the center, you see? You advanced. There's no tension now. Black could kind of, you know, he's not under pressure guessing what you're going to do because it's already been done. You understand? There's no questions, really. Look at this. He's got a nice square where no white pawns could boot this guy out. See that? He's got a nice little outpost on c5. And it's a game. And now he'll chisel at the white center here. Maybe c6. Okay, you can't hit with this because White has control of f5 with his two pawns, right? His two pawns, the e pawn and the g pawn. All right, so chisel at it like this, right? Play that, figuring this is going to open up, right? Look, this could open up, and now the bishop has a nice diagonal again. But hey, who knows, right? All right, he's going after the pawn down there. Whole different game. Totally different than what we're going to see. That's what's beautiful about this game, folks. So many different adventures, right? All right, so anyway, what do we have going on? Okay, what was the last move? We had knight f3, right? That was move 6. And we got the bishop coming out. Oh, yeah, and here we go, right? Anderson with bishop to e2, okay? And we just looked at this move. Look at it, Shredder's even looking at it now. Maybe because we just played that line, it's the one it remembers. I don't know if it prefers this out of all things. But Anderson plays this, and again, at the end of these notes, the immediate advance of the queen pawn also deserves consideration. They just say right away with this. But look at this now, folks. You can take him, right? And that's a whole other game. We got to get into our the man of the hour, right? We got to get into the Morphy game, Anderson game. Okay, whole different ball game. Look at this. It's an even game. Who knows? Could go anyway, any which way, right? Might even transpose in a way. Look, you get this move. You take here. Look at that. Look at that, folks. It's like a transposition, right? What did he hit with c5 before? I don't know, maybe he'd like the castle, or he'd bring the knight here. Who knows? Even game at this point. Anybody's win at that point. Who knows? So, Anderson with bishop to e2. Okay? Here we got Morphy castle, right? And now we got e4 played. And Morphy strikes. He takes the knight. Pawn takes. Can't take with the D pawn anymore, folks. You got to take with the B pawn, right? Okay, and look at this. Morphy advancing. Hitting the knight. The knight leaps back. Right? It leaps back, attacking the e4 pawn. All right, Morphy protecting, just like Shredder says. Look, protect that pawn. It's your central pawn. You don't want to lose that guy. And you got to watch when you advance, folks. Sometimes you could stretch yourself. All right, but he's got f5. He's protecting that guy on e4. Okay, and now look at this, folks. Look at this. So you got the critics. Here you go. Here you go. Look at this. The old master's right. Critics have differed very widely concerning the relative merits of the two parties' positions at this point. Jay Lowenthal, for instance, speaks of Black's excellent game, while Zuckertort looks on it as compromised by the maneuver of Morphy's last couple of moves here. Knight takes and then advancing. He doesn't like it. I guess he thinks Black's extending himself too early. But Jay Lowenthal likes it, right? Opinion here. Plenty of game left to play. And look, I want to take this moment to show you something very interesting. I think it's a very good teachable moment, scenario I want to share with you at this point. I want to show you. Okay, let's just take some typical moves, right? You just say you play something like, your castle, okay? And, okay, he brings the knight over here, right? And then let's say he brings the knight over here, okay? And I don't know, Black makes a move. I'm just throwing stupid moves out. Let's say he goes here, right? Now, here we go. This is what I wanted to show you, right? Let's say he plays the knight here, okay? Now look closely. Look at Shredder. He wants to take that knight on c5. Oh, there he goes. He figured it out, folks. All right, he's backing me up. He wants to now take with the bishop, and there's a reason. Look, if you take, one thing you got to notice. Look at White's minor pieces, right? And look at the pawn chain. Look at his pawns, folks. The pawns are on all the dark squares. You got, let me just make a move so I could highlight it. Look, you got it. The A pawns on a dark square, on a dark square, on a dark square. The E3 pawns on a dark square. The F pawn, right? These two are on. They're all on dark squares. Keeping this guy locked in. Look, he can't get anywhere. He's got no scope. Now this guy's beautiful, right? All right, Black's controlling some squares, but he can't go to where Black's controlling. But his own pawns aren't in the way. Okay, this guy, he's really buried in there, right? So the idea is, I made that dumb move by the king. Okay, let me move that back. So now the question is, do you take with the knight? And do you give White the bishop pair by taking? If you take like this with the bishop, you're giving White the bishop pair. And I know we've mentioned it plenty of times that the bishop pair could be an advantage, right? But it comes down to the position, folks. Let me slap you in the face. You got to remember, it's always the position in this game. There's always an exception. And here there is one. Look, you take with the bishop. Now he's gone back to liking the knight. But look, you take with the bishop. Why? All right, you give White the bishop here, right? Well, one, you're winning a pawn. Okay, you're winning a pawn. But the main point, the reason, is because now your whole goal would be, right? You try to trade. You try to trade the light square bishops if you could get them off the board, right? If you could get him off the board, this is why he's playing this, because he wants to get this guy into action, folks. Look, he wants to get this guy into action. Look, it plays itself, right? You understand the logic the moves come to you. He wants to get this guy in the game, get him on those dark squares, right? But anyway, there was other lines somehow. It was a little different when I was going over this. And it might have been because I threw an A6 and it was a different move. I don't know. But the point is, if you can trade, you got to look at the minor pieces in the pawn structure, right? And the point is, if you can trade off, if you're black, right, you'd want to lock these pawns on these dark squares and never let this guy get into the game, right? And you want to trade off these guys, okay, the two light square bishops, and have your knight versus this bad bishop. You understand? And look at this. If the bishops came off the board, right? If they came off the board, pretend they're not there, you could sink this knight, right? You could sink this knight right there on D3. He'd be the bone in the throat, folks. I mean, forget about it. I tell you what, look at this. You trade the queens, right? Now, if the bishop wasn't there, remember, if you put this guy right here in this outpost, folks, it's an outpost. Look at this. He controls the board. My God, he's right in. Look at this. He's threatening a fork to win the exchange. You might not even want to take the exchange with this knight. He's so strong at this point. You might be able to cramp him so bad you'll win a piece, let alone win the exchange, you know? But look, you put him in, sure enough. What is Shredder do? Of course, you got to take that guy out. You can't leave him there. Plus, you win the pawn back. And now, now you got bishops of opposite color, as we talked about, very drawish, right? Even if this bishop's a bad one, you could even just give away this pawn. You could even give away a pawn, I'm just making a dumb move over here. You could even give it away, possibly, just to get him developed, on the long diagonal. I mean, obviously, you're going to give up the exchange like this, but you see what I'm saying? You understand what the whole idea is? You look at the pawn structure, and you try to determine, how can I really, if we were to trade our minor pieces in a way, how could I have, like, a knight? How could my minor piece outshine his? It would almost be like you're up a piece, you understand? That knight was so strong, and that bishop had no scope. It's almost like black would be up a piece, So these are the things you consider. Normally, you would quickly say, oh, I don't want to give my opponent the bishop here, but you got to look at position. And maybe tactically, after all this is said and done, me yapping away, maybe like it found, if they played A4 to be able to develop the bishop on A3, it wouldn't even be worth doing this, because he can get that dark square bishop into the game on the A3 F8 diagonal. You understand? I'm just giving you some strategic principles, okay? Not that they apply even to this position, but it was one that I was able to point out an interesting, you get that knight on D3, you see, you try to trade the light square bishops off and have a knight right wedged on an outpost. There's no white pawns that could have knocked him out of there, right? Okay, and this is just some tips. The tips, I couldn't help but notice that. All right, we go back. We had the last move, Morphy protecting his E pawn with F5. Now you're going to see how these ideas play into what Anderson does and what Morphy does. Okay, so here we go. We have the move 15, right? We have no, what was that last move? Move 10, F5, move 10. Okay. All right, so like I said, the critics, some liked this, some didn't, okay? It's really preference. And here you have, look at this. You got Anderson now. He plays F4, inviting a kingside attack. But so would castles. Look at this, folks. If he plays castles, look at this. Look at this, the queen would swing in here, right? I don't know. And then you hit the queen, all right, so he's over here. All right, you got, still a game, but it says it would invite it. Look at this, though. I'll show you something else crazy. What if he was to do, look, what if he was to, I said in that other line, where black, when you have the center, You want to chip away at it. What if white wanted to chip away at this e5 pawn? Being that Morphy supports it with f5, figure out I'll play this, right? I'll chisel away. I'll chisel away at that e pawn. I don't like it up there. It's cramping me, right? Well, look at this. Now the queen check comes in. And if you try to block it like this, look at this, folks. You get the sack. You get the sack. Okay? And obviously, if he takes it, you lose the rook because the h pawn is pinned, right? So you win the exchange. You win a pawn, right? Okay, so maybe that's the only thing he can do at this point, right? Because what else? If he moves, all right, now he takes here. So anyway, all right, he wins 2 pawns. Oh, look at this. He comes here. I mean, what's that? You just play this, goes back, and the rook's gonna come. The rook's gonna get in the game, right? Maybe here. Let's see what he does. He tried something over here. Oh, he's trying to come down with mate. See that? You get excited, you go there. Look at this, folks. Checkmate, right? You got to keep your eye on the ball. Don't forget, your opponent's trying to attack you too, right? He's got ideas. All right, there you go. He's got to give up. Look at this. You don't even take the rook. Look at this. You go here. Yeah, you're going to win him anyway. See, he goes over. You take him this way. He blocks. All right, need I say more, right? There you go. You're up big. You're up big. Okay. You tore up the white king side, right? So just, it's a logical mistake. You feel, oh, I'll chisel away at that e pawn with f3. All right, no good, no good. Here comes the check and the sack, right? Okay, so you can't do f3. Anderson plays f4, and we looked at this. I mean, I don't know. They're saying the king. It welcomes a king side attack. Okay. I mean, the Shredder likes to bring the knight out. I guess you get your pieces, you get them all out. Maybe you're leaping them over there. It takes time, though, right, folks? White's got moves, too. But anyway, Anderson goes with this. And they also touch on, oh, okay. They think the Old Master's right. C4 followed by, let me just show the moves. Bishop to B2 and queen to C2. And possibly this, chiseling away. You know, you're chiseling away at the E pawn. See, you throw the G pawn at the pawn chain, right? He takes over there, you take over here, right? So there you go. Yeah, look at it. You pin the knight. But anyway, all right, whole different battle, right? It looks like it's pretty even there. Maybe white's a little better like this. I mean, now he's got this bishop over here that's going to come into play. He's going to come into play if he just advances this one. I guess he likes to advance that one. See, you as black, you have to guess now. You're not sure. White has a big center here. See it? He's got the E pawn. He's got the E pawn, the D pawn, and the C pawn. He's controlling key squares in the center. This could be tough for black, but according to the evaluation, he's all right. All right. So anyway, it's a game, right? It's a game. That's what the Old Masters conclude. It looks promising, but hey, folks, I did jump the king back and forth here. Look at this. I just gave black shuffling the curly shuffle over here in the corner with the king. I mean, come on. You know, black has some moves, right? Better than the king shuffling back and forth. All right, so C4 is an idea to develop your queen side, right? Okay, you control the key squares in the center. All right, but anyway, Anderson goes in with this one, F4. Now, if he takes, right, you're getting rid of that. You're getting rid of that, key pawn up there in enemy territory, right? If you take, he takes with the knight, and now, no, you can't bring the queen here because the knight, the natural defender of the king side, okay? So you don't want to take en passant after F4, right? Okay. So now we got a surprising move by Morphy here. Look at this, right? You got G5. They're launching pawns over here. Now, you got G5, you got F5, F4, now you got G5. Morphy's trying to rip it open, right? He's trying to rip open lines. I guess he feels that he's going white. Anderson's definitely going to castle on the king side, right? He's not going to go to the queen side the way it looks. So I guess he's trying to get he's going to get an open G file if he takes here. Well, now he opens up this diagonal for the bishop, right? Let me just make a move over here. He's opening up the bishop, this diagonal for the bishop, right? Even if he does this. Look at that. He goes to sack it. He actually sacks it. Because on this, he goes over. You advance. You're going to try to rip it open for your rook on F8. And you're clearing the diagonal for this guy, folks, right? You're clearing the light square bishop's diagonal. Look at this, challenging the queen. Look, taken with check. Holy smokes. We're going to have a sack here, I think. Oh, you're going to bring the other guy. They're all flying in now to get a piece of that white king. Look at this. All right, take with check. He goes here. You capture this guy. All right, the pawns. Why sack the rook? What am I saying? Sack the rook for 2 minor pieces. Hey, just take with the pawns, right? Look at this. The attack continues, folks. He's dead. He's dead in the water. All right, get that king out of the way there. Here comes the enemy rook. All right. I mean, even if the attack slows down, wow, look at that. He's dead. He's dead. Come on, forget about it. Right? He's dead. You got the extra rook. You got an extra knight. You go here. You're threatening the rook, you're threatening this, folks, right? Pinning the queen to the king. All right. So what does he do? He goes up here. Is that what he wants to do? I don't know. He's giving up now, right? Why even continue? Why are we going for mate? Are we going for mate? If he tries to block, we got the other rook coming in, right? What's he going to do, folks? He's got nothing left. Here he goes. He goes up here to make it. When we check, now he has an escape square for the time being, right? But I mean, by playing it, we just take the rook, right? He goes here, we just take. All right, it's all over. Why do we got to analyze that, right? I just got sucked in. I apologize. But look at that attack. You see, there's the logic. I'm just showing you. I'm showing you the idea, right? Anderson, no way does he want to take there, right, and give Morphy this. All right, so we know he knows better than that, okay? All right, so after Morphy's G5, we have a big paragraph by the old masters here saying, denounced by Steinitz as strategically a gross error. We're talking about G5. Steinitz didn't like this move by Morphy. And by Zukertort as a wild advance. Steinitz, it may be noted, was smarting with resentment at a self-appointed tribunal consisting of Delmar, Lloyd, and Michaelis. Forgive me, my glasses. I don't have my reading glasses. Sitting in judgment and deciding that Morphy could have beaten him while giving him pawn and move. So these other 3 masters were sitting around shooting the breeze, right? Saying that Morphy could have beat Steinitz. He could have gave him pawn and move and he would have whooped him, right? So you got Steinitz, I guess they got him they agitated him, and he comes out kind of saying, this move here, G5 was strategically a gross error. He's really like angry about it, or he feels, they were trying to say that Morphy would beat him with pawn and move, give him odds, and he'd beat Steinitz. All right, so anyway, it says it partly explains his strong language. We may perhaps describe Morphy's move as one of those which are only justified by success. The best answer to it was knight to b4. I mean, knight to c4, my mistake. Knight to c4. Okay, knight to c4. And guess what Anderson does, though? He does bishop to c4. All right. Close but no cigar, I guess. I mean, was the knight is it really any better? It's still a game. Who knows, right? Yeah, they like it. They like this. They like taking. Let's see what Shredder does. Yeah, he could grab the bishop, I guess. White takes the bishop here. Morphy takes back. He pushes this guy. Retreats. All right. Who knows? Look at this though, folks. Look at this. You got all right. He's going for the C pawn. Well, he goes for the B pawn. All right. Matter of fact, they're going after the D pawn now. The queen, the bishop, and the black knight. Here you go. Look. Everybody's ganging up on this one. All right, here we go. So, I don't know. It's a game. Looks pretty even, right? White has the bishop here, but that knight, folks, what did I say? Try to trade the light square bishops, right? And get your knight on D3. And he's, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better knight. Look at this. He's starting to take on C3. Yeah, let's trade the rooks off. Trade the rooks. He goes here. Uh-oh. He's going to take with check. Right, discovered check by the rook. Alright, he moves that out of the way. And who knows, right? Who knows? Look, he's starting to take this guy and then capture. Does he do it, folks? Alright, he does it. Alright, he goes this way. Bishops of opposite color. There might be better stuff, but it could have went a million ways. Who knows, right? So there you have it. Let's go back. Let's go back. That's the knight. Who knows where it would go from here? Knight c4 was recommended. Anderson playing bishop to c4. Okay. So bishop to c4, and here we go. Morphy chops it off. Now the knight comes to c4. Recapture, and now Morphy takes the pawn. Anderson takes back. And here we have queen to e8. All right, Shredder's saying to throw the knight in there now, but Anderson castles, and here comes the queen attacking the knight. All right. Now, obviously, if the knight moves, I guess he could win this pawn, right? So he's attacking the knight and that c3 pawn. All right, Anderson protects the knight. And look at this. Now Morphy moves to d5, pinning the knight. And here, because the queen's undefended, right, folks? So if the knight wants to hop in there now, well, you lose the queen, right? So, so here we have Anderson protecting, backing up the queen. So now the knight can leap wherever it wants, right? And here we go. Not only that, folks, they're attacking b7. See that? So Morphy advances b7. And here we have a move, a sneaky queen move to queen to a2. Okay? Do you see the threat, folks? I mean, if we just make a dumb move over here like this, right? Let's see. Wait, what was the way we played it before? Let's see. Threatening. Oh, that's right. Okay, this isn't a dumb move then, because the whole idea is to stop the rook coming down here. That's the threat. You know, if for instance they give the old notes, the old masters, I should say, leaving the notes here. They say, for instance, the knight's pinned, right? The knight's pinned because the queen's not defended anymore. So you can, you know, pile up on the pin piece. b5, you think wins the knight. Look at this, folks. Rook takes. And if you take over here, look at this, folks. You got knight takes bishop, but it's a check. Don't worry about the knight. Look at the queen, sneaky queen on a2. I said it. Given the check, king moves, and now look with the knight. The knight leaps back and grabs the queen there. There you go. You lost. Game over. All right. Let's see. He's up. He's up a minor piece and the queen for the rook. Look at this again. In slow motion, folks. Look. You figure you're going to win that knight because it's pinned to the queen. And then he does the impossible. He takes, wait, what are you doing? And then there you go. See? Discovered check. Look, check. King moves, and there you go. And you win. You're up big. You're up big, league. Forget it. That's it. Now, it says threatening rook down to b5. Okay, that's what he's threatening right now. White's threatening rook to b5. It says, but, Black could simply have played knight here, try to seize it, knight to d7. And if rook comes down here, all right, so then you back off. You back off to e6. The knight's still pinned, okay? And I guess white would go there, but they just left it at that. Queen to e6, and black holds, fine. He's all right. So, he likes this now. Maybe that's better. You know, you let the... I know I do it quickly, folks. I'm just giving you ideas as we go, how it could shape up. And, you know, Shredder's rated 2,600. Excuse me, I'm cracking up. Shredder's rated 2,600. You know, I couldn't beat this thing playing, you know, a 5-minute game, a 10-minute game, 15 minutes. You know, its tactics are so strong. I mean, you look at your own rating, right? You think you could beat a 2,600 in a quick game, all right? So even if we're making the moves fast, folks, they're strong moves, all right? He's not just throwing blunders out there, okay? So you get an idea, you know, you get a tactical sense of what's going on. So anyway, I know I make the moves quick, but there you go, right? This is what the old masters say, and you got a game at this point, right? Look at the evaluation over here. Who's moved, right? Let me borrow this pawn. Look at that. Look down there. Look, it's 0.09 for black, right? There you go, right? So, could be anybody's game. There's the old master's recommendation there. So, you got, okay, and now they continue. They continue after queen to a2. They say, Morphy's next move leaves a weakness which tells against him at move 25. Here it is, folks. He plays c6. All right, let's see what happens at move 25. Keep note of that. All right, white gets out of the pin, gets the knight out of the pin. He moves the queen to e2. All right, Morphy develops the knight. Got to get those soldiers into the game. Come on now. All right, now the knight drops to e3, hitting the queen. Queen comes to e6. And now, exclamation point, folks. c4. Here they come. Controlling key squares, right? Controlling key squares, those pawns. Plus now, you know, maybe d5's coming. And you get this bishop on b2, folks. Right? Let's just make some dumb moves. You get the bishop, of course. If I just moved the king to h8. That is a dumb move. See, you're putting you're just tempting the bishop to go to b2 where it wants to go, right? And then maybe you get d5, you open that big diagonal, right? The dark square diagonal, a1 to h8, and you're good to go, right? So that c4, right? Clearing the lines for the dark square bishop. Okay? So that theme still runs. It still applies, folks. You got to get those pieces to the best squares, right? You don't want a bad bishop. All right, so c4, good move, exclamation point. Here comes the knight, posting on f6. Okay, now we get the rook lift. The rook lift, look out. Look at that third rank. The knight jumps, and then the rook could swing over to the open g file. See it, folks? It could be coming to g3. Look out. Okay, Morphy senses it. He moves the king up to f7. Here we go. We have a note. Now it is Morphy who is compelled to take shelter from the danger threatening his king side. Though it is true that he also vacates a square for his rook, which is g8, right? He could challenge the g file if the rook swings over. But it says here, okay, it says here, b5 would lose, for then you get d5, and it would force a general exchange in the center, after which, okay, let's do it. We change here. Okay, I guess he would take this one maybe, but I think they were saying this. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't want to take on b5 because according to the old masters, after this, right? Change. Okay. Now rook to g3, right? Check. And then I guess, okay, king comes up. Then you got the rook over here, right? Where does the black queen went? All right, black throws in a check of his own. King over. All right. Whether queen here challenging or... Look at this. What's he doing? He's going to... I mean, see, black's in trouble, folks. He's in trouble. Let's say he comes here, right? They're saying, for white, rook to G3, rook to D1, like we've done. And they also give bishop to B2. Of course, look at this diagonal, folks. Like we said, right? That's what the old masters say. White must win. Okay, now if we even, let's see what Shredder, he likes the queen check first. This guy goes here. All right, now you take over those dark squares. This is, look at the king. Look, you got, okay, he comes back. Why, folks? Why? Look, let me show you. Look, you got the open G file. You got the open, wait a minute, you got the open D file, right? Look at this bishop slicing through, right? Look at the queen slicing this way. With the king's got one square. I mean, where could he go? He could only go here, right? I mean, he's in trouble. Now, bishop back is because you got the queen. Look, if you do this, if you do something dumb, you just got the queen check. And he could block, but you got the bishop over there protecting, supporting the queen taking anyway. So we just take it. So once you move, well, now you lose the queen. See? Skewered, right? You're skewering the king over here. So instead of the dumb A5, I'm just showing you the threat. Black would move this to protect, okay? So that if you do this, well, now he can block, right? He could block with the rook even. You're giving up the exchange. This is how dangerous it is, folks. This is what danger he has, right? So, already he challenges the rook over here because there is a mating threat. Look, you could blow it. Back rank weakness. Back rank weakness. Can't even get it out. All right. So he challenges there. Already he moves over, but look, what's going on here? I mean, we're clearly up, right? Just looking quickly at this, but I don't think this is the idea he could defend, right? Or can he? He has to make a move. Oh, you still got the back rank, see? If you take here, he's got you. He's got you with the back rank again. See what could happen? You can do some nice sacrifices, and look, he can sacrifice right back, right? So, okay, we can't sack like this. Back rank is too weak. All right, but we're still up. We're up +2 at this point, right? So maybe white plays H3. What do you think? After you move here, white wants to play this. I don't know. He's saying to do this move. So anyway, okay. Let's go back. So he can't, he can't play B5. This is dangerous. Okay. So with moves, like they said, after the old masters say after they trade, okay, with moves like rook to G3, rook to D1, and bishop to B2, white must win. Okay? We got 2 of them there. Let's say he goes here, right? Here comes the check. Here goes another check, right? He's on the run. What's he gonna do? The bishop's threatening to come to C5 because this guy's pinned, folks, right? But he could threaten. Okay, we can't go there now. The rook took over the C file. He wants to move here, maybe. All right. Looks like queen takes B5 is threatened. All right, now you slip to C2, check. Take. You're gonna win the bishop. You're gonna win. Oh wait, are you? Yeah, because king could go to F2. All right, here we go. There you go. We're good. We're good to go. We're up a piece, right? He could keep checking. The king just makes his way over there. Get out of here. All right, we're trading down. We're up to piece, right? There you go. Easy win, right? Easy win. All right. So we go back. The old masters are right. B5. This all leads to the alternative idea to play B5. No good. D5 is the answer. Okay. Open it up, and the white pieces attack the black king stuck in the middle. So Morphy, after that rook lift, he senses the danger. King up to F7. Right? Okay. Here we go. There comes the bishop, just like Shredder. That's where it wants to go. D5. Gonna play that D5 sooner or later. All right, of course, D5 is going to be played. Look at this, Morphy with queen rook to C8. Okay, white moves the king over. The rook comes to the open G file. And here it is. Here it is. D5, opening that diagonal for the white bishop. All right, they trade the pawns. And you see what happens, folks? This is why the rook came to the C file. You see? Morphy sensed that the C file is going to open up. He knows white wants to push D5. It's obvious. Because he put the bishop on B2. He wants to open that diagonal for it. He wants to rip it open and go after the black king, who's more in the center, right? So, you know, white tucks his king out of any checks along the G1, A7 diagonal. You got the dark square bishop. Remember, you never know. That might save black somehow. So he gets the king over. Then Morphy takes the G file. Here comes D5. They trade. Now, here we go. Queen to D7. All right? Queen to D7. It says here, if he takes, look out. Here comes the queen. Right? The knight protects H5. But if he takes the pawn, too bad. Now the queen comes in. All right? And the attack starts. Let's see. Where does it go from here? Remember, we have this dark square bishop too, very deadly. Do we take the knight? Do we take, what do we take? We take the pawn here, I guess. All right. Gonna take that bishop maybe. All right, you could see, look at white's king and look at black's king. It's looking pretty dangerous, right? All right, here we go. We'll go after the rook. He goes after our queen. All right. Wow, willing to... Okay. Folks, this doesn't damage the pawns over there because you got the rook on the third rank. Remember, he takes back with the rook. Okay, knight comes over here. Well, let's see, because he's hanging, folks. The knight's hanging, right? The knight is hanging because the bishop on B2. Now, what if he plays this to try to protect it? Because he's also threatening... White's threatening to win the exchange. Knight takes. So you try to handle both, well, then, you know, there you go. You chase him away with a measly pawn. See how it works? All right, he'll at least lose the exchange in a different way, right? There you go. Okay, and he's gobbling up pawns now. All right, okay, I think we clearly see white's up there, right? Pretty dangerous. So, at this stage, after this, he moves the knight, and he just gives up the exchange this way. At least he keeps the H pawn. All right. I don't know. So again, white is up, right? Just gotta watch that. You gotta watch that E pawn, right? He's on the F4 pawn, right? He's on this with the knight and the bishop. This is a check move, though. Here he comes. Goes after the rook. All right, it could be interesting. Some tactics, maybe. You got this pawn, but it's saying that white's clearly up, almost 2.5. So he's got to be careful, but he should have the win in the bag, you know. All right. So anyway, so there, he gets into trouble. Knight takes. You got to admit, if anything, white takes the initiative for sure, right? It's black whose back's against the wall here, right? Playing like this. Obviously, if the queen moves, right, folks? Where's the queen going to go? I mean, it would have to protect the rook, right? You would have to protect the rook, else queen takes. And not only that, if the queen's trying to protect this too, the queen's overloaded, right? So if you go there, this seems to be an even better move than bishop takes knight. Wow. He's pretty tied up here. Look at this. It's an x-ray, folks. Look, you still win it, see? All right, anyway. And it's a check move. See that? Check. Then rook takes check. So black doesn't even have time to take the knight on h6. He blocks. There you go. He saves the knight, right? Clearly winning. Winning big time. All right, so you can't take that d5 pawn. That's the point. You let the queen in on h5. All right. Queen back to d7 by Morphy. He sees all that. And now we got the knight coming up to c4. And here we have king to e7. Moving to e7. Okay, why? Well, let's look at what the old masters give, folks. Again, he cannot capture the pawn. If he takes the pawn, then you got rook to d1. Okay? And the move they're saying is queen to c6 if knight takes pawn, right? Rook takes bishop, sack the exchange. Okay? Now, you take the queen. He takes, let's see, he takes the queen with check. He goes there, and then you can move with check again. Okay, and that's what they give, etc. And he moves, and now you could even check him like this, and then he goes further back, and I mean, okay, what do we got? Or a knight's hanging over there. So the knight's hanging. All right, you trade off these guys. You force the trade, and you're up. You're up the minor piece at this point, right? You're up a bishop. You're up a bishop. And we just got to watch those pawns coming down. There we go. I don't know. Could it be trouble? Let's see. Break them up, right? Because if he takes here, you take this guy. The knight's on e3. Right? What are you going to do? I guess that's the best. That's the best he can do. All right, he takes there. He takes here. We get the check in. All right, we only have one pawn, folks. We only have an 8 pawn. Could be tricky. Black might be able to hold this. He might be able to hold this one because that 8 pawn over there, like if white's only up a bishop in the end, if they trade the pieces off and white's only up a bishop, matter of fact, it's the wrong color bishop. The square over here where the pawn queens is a light square, and you have the dark square bishop. Looks to me like this is going to be a draw. Unless white could really whip up something already. I don't know. Maybe he could win the knight somehow. I don't know. Doesn't look like it. All right, he's protecting. There you go. He's protecting a3. All right, this could be tricky, folks. I'll leave this one to the grandmasters because I think black could hold this. Even though he's down, technically he's down, but, you know, not down by much because, look, black has 3 pawns for the bishop. Okay, so white's up a pawn, and it's a pawn. It's a wing pawn, folks, and the bishop's the wrong color. I don't know. I think black hangs in there. So where did this come from, right? Where did that? Okay, if he takes here, let's see. You take, he sacks the knight. The queen takes. You take with check. He comes up. You check again. He goes back. All right. That's where they left it with this. The old masters left it there. Okay? And Shredder likes my move, I guess, f6. Put the king on the back rank. Maybe you shouldn't trade down. Oh, you got the back rank weakness. That's what it is. If you move the knight, you try to move the knight. Oh, okay, you could protect with the rook. Knight supports the rook back. Okay, you could hold. All right. You would come up here. And you can't get the dark square bishop to blockade those pawns because the rook controls g5. If you try to slip over here, the knight controls d4, right? So look at this. There you go. Here you go. You go after the knight. If he takes you there, you take him here, right? Maybe this is a better line, right? So, I don't know. What's he going to do? Where's he going with this? All right, he goes after your rook. You're going to try to win piece for piece. All right, you go. You trade off that way. Does he try to pin you? No, because then he can check. He can check you and win your rook. All right? Got to watch those tactics. All right, king comes up to support his pawns. You know, folks, again, that passed e-pawn, dangerous. But at least white holds these kingside pawns, the two kingside pawns. He might be able to chop off a pawn and then, you know, slowly get a win here. Maybe. All right, but again, could be tough. So maybe it's not as bad as the old masters thought, right? Maybe it was worth trying. Knight takes, they're saying. It's no good, but okay, anyway. Now, if they give another line, if bishop takes the, let's see, we take here, rook over to d1. If bishop takes on f4, well, then they give this. They say that the white bishop to e5, right? Now, you can't do this, folks. You see why, right? There you go, knight 4. Good night. Okay, you can't take. So it's amazing. The bishop flies right in, immune to capture, right? So, all right, Shred is saying to move back. You give, all right, what do you give the check there? You give a check here. Could he take it now? All right, and then you pin it. All right, so now you're going to take, well, if you take it like this, he takes your knight, right? He could take, oh, he takes this because it's a back rank. Holy smokes, I keep forgetting about that one, folks, right? Got it, can't forget it. You got to remember those back rank weakness. It opens up a whole catalog of danger, right? You can do the impossible then. With that back rank weakness, your opponent could do the impossible. Look, queen takes. Oh, I don't care. Take me, right? There you go, see? Leads to mate. I thought it was going to be simply this, like you could win the piece over here, but no, you lose. You totally lose. All right, so what do we got here? You take, he comes up. All right, you back him up. All right, he's going to lose. Let's see, pretend he backs it up over here to protect the back rank. This guy's still hanging. Look at this, the rook on c8. All right, gets to move him. If he takes over here, right, if he takes over here, you're going to take over there. He's going to pin you. You're going to take. He's going to take over this one. You're going to threaten to come down with your rook. I don't know. He goes there. You go there. I don't know. This looks like a draw, right? Looks like a draw. What are you going to do? All right, you won this. All right, who knows? Looks like a draw to me. All right, so anyway. Okay. So remember, folks, this one comes instead of the knight taking on f4. We take with the bishop. Okay. Now he's saying instead of bishop over here, he's saying g3. Maybe take away the back rank weakness, huh? Look at this now. He's gonna go. He's gonna go there. We're gonna lose this. Why? Let's see. What could he do? King up. Look at this on this move. Let me see if I see this right. What if he moves? Obviously, if he moves here, knight takes. If he moves there, rook takes, knight, right? He would go. He would take here, and we could take setting up a vicious discovered attack, right? Like just like this. See, check. Queen on c4 gives check to the king. So Okay, he would block that. You could take here. Look, the queen's pinned. Queen can't take, folks. He can't take. The queen on c4 is pinning him, right? And it's a check move. Oh, look at this. The dark square bishop slips right in. Mean. Very mean. What happens if he moves, right? Okay, you get a check over here. Where's he going to go? He can only go, I guess. What if he goes here? Oh, you take this one. All right, he's coming right in. He's coming right in. Look at this. A sack. Takes. He can't go this way. If he goes this way, well, then the rook. There you go. He's finished, right? Okay. So on this check, he blocks. Oh, he blocks, and look at what you win. Wow, look at this, huh? Check. He's a dead duck now. Look at this. Even the bishop's getting in the fight. All right, there we go. I was going to go here. Here you go. Different pattern. How do you like that one, huh? All right, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff, all stemming from, okay, Shredder finds a better move. The old masters gave this. How about that? G3, how about that move? Pretty amazing. All right. And there's a few more lines, folks. Let's get into it. This is, we looked at if the knight takes, right? This is all coming about after, okay. Just to remind you, the knight had leaped to c4, okay, and we're talking about Morphy's move is this, king over to e7, but if he takes the pawn, then we go, like we've been looking at this, rook pinning the knight and bishop, because if you take one, the other one's pinned, right, to the queen on d7, okay? We looked at this, we looked at this. Now they give another line. They say, and if bishop to b8, bringing it back. Oh, wait, there goes Shredder. Let's see if he's right. We'll do the analysis. First, they like the knight. They say, bring the knight here, piling up on the pinned knight on d5. See that? If it moves, the queen hangs. Now, if you try to attack the white queen, well, you're taking with check, see? And there you go. You could save your queen like that. Simple enough, right? Simple enough. You bag the queen and you don't even lose your own. You don't lose anything, right? So, we got bishop back. So they like the knight move first, the old masters, they write. And then they give, okay, defend the pin piece. With rook to c5. Now the queen check coming in on h5. And they leave it there. They just leave it, considering it better. Let's go a little further. He goes there. Okay, you're attacking one of the defenders. Look at this bishop on the dark squares, folks, for white. Very strong piece. Okay, he takes there. He takes. Look at this. Check. Discovered attack on the queen. Look at that. You win the queen. And look, oh, you think you lost. Oh, no, back rank weakness. Well, luckily, the queen on h5 supports this rook retreat to block it, see? Okay, maybe he wants to win this pawn. All right, so white protects that back rank, luckily, with rook to d1. Hey, look at that. There you go. Trade them off. You're up the queen for a rook, right? Okay, there you get a pawn now. Now it's 4 pawns to 3, but you got the queen for a rook, and you got the rook for a bishop. Forget about it. This is over. Come on. You got to dummy up, right? I mean, heck, why not? Can he just go here with the check? He goes in the corner, right? Get him off. Get him off. Make it easy. Look at this. You're gobbling another one. Yeah, gobble another one up. There you go. Trying to fork the king and bishop. But there's no way. See, like he goes here, right? If this pawn on b6 wasn't there, you can go boom, check the king, and then grab the bishop, right? If this guy wasn't there. All right, that's what I was looking for. Some kind of way to win the bishop. All right, but there you go. You grab the e4 pawn. You're good to go, right? I think you guys can handle this, right? Queen versus bishop endgame. Forget about it. Come on. All right, so now, there you go, right? We looked at this. The old masters just left it at that, right? Queen checks. Okay, White's up. White wins that one. Okay, now going all the way back, they give the best move. They give the best move for there you go. After rook to d1, they claim that this is the best move. Queen to c6, trying to avoid all the pins, you know. And let's see, what do they got here? Now they say, all right, now the queen check. They give the queen check. King up. There you go. Check over here now. The rook blocks. If the king comes to here or here, it just says is worse. Is worse than the rook blocking on g6. So let's just look at it. I don't know. Let's look at this, right? Let's see why it's worse. You take here. If he takes, right, you give the check. King up. You got the rook coming down to h6. Right, ready to win the black queen. He goes there. Oh, look at it. He's in deep trouble now, folks. I mean, look at the white pieces swarming around. The king stuck in the center. Even this little pawn, even the pawn on f4 is controlling this square, right? You combine it with the bishop. Okay, you got the rooks ready to come down. All right, you just win it this way. I mean, if you know, this is enough. Look, you pin that guy. You're gonna win it. Now you can't go take it now. Why, folks? Boom! You lose to the back rank weakness. Don't forget it. That's why the bishop on b2. Luckily, it protects, right? It protects c1. The rook can't come down. Now you're threatening to win the knight with your rook on h6. Okay, he protects the knight. You gobble a pawn, ready to take this one, right? What do you do? What does he even do? Does it matter, folks? He's dead, right? It's all over now. I mean, once he goes here, you could even you could sack this one, right? And then you win this one over here. Oh, he blocks like that, and you could take this guy, right? Why can't you take this? What's gonna happen? Oh, he's gonna threaten rook to c6. Oh no, he goes down. I thought this. That's still not. That's not a. I forgot. Look, let's just move we could pin it for one. We could pin it, but I was thinking. I was afraid of the. Let's just move this over here. I was thinking this again, but the bishop covers. Why can't you take this rook down here? Maybe you take with check. That's why you do it. So now he's forced to move, and now you take with check. See, the subtleties, right? That's the grandmaster playing. You're playing the most accurate, right? That's shredder there for you, 2600. Okay. That's the difference, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, so there you go. Okay, I didn't see that. I was afraid, thinking that there's some problem with this, that he could get the back rank mate, and you'd be forced to trade queen for rook, you know. But you'd still be up. You got the bishop, right? So anyway, okay, just throwing some things. I'm seeing ghosts, but I'm sharing with you right on the fly. There you go, right? Blocks. Check. Can't go anywhere else but onto the C file, right? You could go here or here. And either one you take with check. Okay. There you go. So we go back and if he goes, let's say on this check he goes here, right? This ain't take. You take this one. You win here. You can win the knight. It falls apart, right? It falls apart.
There you go. He's running. Look, a similar thing like in the other line. See the queen? Queen can't take the rook. It's pinned, folks. You get that check in. Look at this. I think his goose is cooked. Wait a minute now. Okay. The queen can't come down to give check because she's pinned, right? She's pinned by the white queen. All right. I was looking at that for a second, wondering. Okay. Takes. If he tries this now, okay, look, you block. You got the other rook backing it up, right? All right, there you go. You're up easy. Come on. You got the bishop. You got 3 pawns on the king side ready to march down. Come on. It's all over, folks, right? All right, so he blocks. This is with the old masters. They had just said the king here or here is worse, and we just looked at it. All right, so if he goes there, you win the pawn over here. Now the rook's hanging, right? The rook's, let me make sure I get the right spot. Yep, the rook's hanging. He brings this rook over to protect it. Now you take the bishop. They give king takes. And you got this, look. Where's the queen go now, folks? Where's the queen go? You know it's coming, right? Let's say he moves back, right? You got, look, check. You move over, there it is, right? And it's going to be mate, but he'd have to give up the queen, right? There you go. And you win it that way. And look at this, you're going to win him. All right, enough. We got that one in the bag, right? So after taking the bishop, that's if you take with the king. That's what they give. And they give rook over to c3 wins, right? He decides that he's going to just have to get the rook for it. And he's clearly lost. Okay? Now, attack the knight. If the knight takes this one, you might be wondering. Okay, let's see what happens here. Goes down. Now the rook comes to d7. You don't want to go here and let him. Oh, let's see. He goes right there, and there's nothing left. Right? Let's see. So if he goes here, you come right down with check. That's even worse. He doesn't even have a moment of a breathe. He doesn't even get a breather. Look, but once you come down, there's nothing you can do. There's no way to block it, right? What are you going to do? You could protect A7 like this, but you made him on B7. See that? All right. There's no way the rooks could protect A7. They could protect B7, right? But you got A7. See, they're very dangerous. Rook and queen on the 7th, folks. You got to watch those. If your opponent gets that, he's basically got the stranglehold on you. It's not going to be long, right? So, clearly winning. And if he takes, like Shredder says, taking with the queen, all right, you're going to pile up on that knight. He takes over here. Now, if you take the queen takes back, see? So that if you think you're going to win the queen, he gets mate over here. See that? So this is a little sneakier. You got to always watch. All right, he's going to come around, try to come down to check. And win the black queen that way. You keep your rook on. You got your rook over here protecting, right? The mate. But luckily, this is a check move, right? The check move. And look at this. You sack this one. He wins that. Now you pick up the knight. Look at this. No back rank weakness, folks. No checkmate with a rook down, right? There you go. You're up the bishop. You're clearly winning. All right. Cement that bishop in. There you go. Powerful bishop in the center of the board. Supported by the pawn on f4. All right, there you go. Right. Got to just watch this guy. The black e pawn. That's all really. You got the game. Maybe a little technique here, but you got it. Come on, you're up to piece. All right. So those are those lines, right? All stemming from this, folks. Knight taking on d5. Not good. Okay, not good. Instead, Morphy. Look at Shredder going for it. Shredder's going for it. Okay, but here you go. Right. Let's see what is Shredder. What did he like about this whole thing? He's seeing this stuff. This was the move, and we just looked at everything, right? Okay. This is why he's taking the pawn, because he's only calculated this move, I guess, at this point. Again, you can't take, folks, because then you come in. Look at this. You come in with, I was seeing this check, but even better. Take the bishop. You're forking him. You got the queen ready. The white queen could come in and take, but hey, you don't want to lose your knight. So there you go. It's a fork, right? You win the queen. Come on now. Come on. You can't do it. All right, he blocks. White still has the advantage here, as you can see, right? Takes the pawn, you come in. You can't take, because then you get the knight fork this way. You get it this way, you get it that way, right? Okay, White's look at that. He cemented the bishop in now on e5. All right, he's clearly better, right? So all these lines are no good with
Knight takes d5. Okay, you can't do it. So Morphy opts to move the king over to e7. And here, Anderson, just like Shredder, look at this. He chops the knight off. But get a load of this, folks. There's a little footnote. Don't worry, it's not as long as the other analysis. This just says here, White should not have given up his powerful bishop. Rook to h3 was the correct move. See Zuckertort's very full analysis in Chess Monthly 1879, pages 114 and 115. Even after the text move, White has much the better game. Okay, so White's better. I mean, look at the analysis here. We got to the right. Look over here, down below. You got almost up 3, right? Almost a +3 position here for White. But, okay. Anderson taking, he takes the knight with the bishop. But let's just see something here. He goes down. You pin the knight, I guess. Shredder, let's see what he wants to do here. You pin the knight. And let's see, you take this guy with check. Alright, he takes back. You're getting into position, I guess, to come on in and attack. He wants to take the pawn. What if he takes the knight? What happens, folks? What happens here? You tell me. Alright, he check. He can't go over. Can't go over here. He's got to go, I guess, there. What if he goes to this, to the G file? We get him over anyway. Alright, so it's the same thing. Here we go. So now what? Well, if he goes up, right, it's going to be me, right? If he goes up, it's going to be me. There you go, right? So he could only go down. And if he goes down, he loses the rook, right? If he goes here to protect the rook, I guess, right? Well, then we take up here. And he can't go there, folks, because the rook comes down, right? That's a mate. Look at that pattern, folks. Nice, right? Nice. All right. So he'd have to go, even if he goes here, you can check him with the rook again. Okay? And that's going to lead to mate, too. There you go. Look at this. He likes it this way. That's the natural way, right? Now, if he goes here, like he's saying, Shredder's saying, well, now look at this. You're going to pick up one of these rooks. Well, actually, this rook is protected by the queen on c4. So let's say if he goes to protect this rook, you could take the bishop with check. See that? no need to go here because, well, actually he picks up the bishop, and then I guess he'll grab the rook next. You know, he doesn't want to take it. He doesn't want to give up the, yeah, he'll go to protect that guy, I guess. I mean, at this point, right, who's winning, folks? Plus 9.5 for white. Now, don't forget, in amidst all these checks, right, you got to remember, the black queen is on your rook on f1, so don't go blowing the game, doing something dumb. Like you figure, you know, how's he going to stop me? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you, here he goes. He goes there. I'll bring my rook down and mate him next, right? Well, goodbye. You just lost. You just blew it, right? You got to be careful. You got that initiative. You figure you got it all under control. Got to watch. Your opponent may be about to turn the tables. All right, so there you go. You move your rook and then you're good to go, right? No contest. Let's see, what do? You chew them up like this. Oh, look, there you go back. What are you doing? I guess you'd have to bring the rook back after this, right? Let's see, you get a check. He goes there. You get this guy going. Oh, forget it. There you go. You pick him up. You pick that guy up. And you don't have time. You don't have time to go for the assault on the king. You got your back rank weakness still. All right, now at least now if he checks you, you could, you know, your queen backs up. You're on the same file. Good thing to know. You always can back it up, right? All right, so you're up clearly there. You're up clearly. I'm just explaining the obvious for the beginners, right? So okay, we go all the way back. No need to look at all this, right? Even though we just did, right? So okay. All right, no problemo. We go back, right? Anderson, instead of this, Suckertorp feels that's the best. But hey, what are you gonna do? He takes the knight. King takes back, I believe, right? Why not? And now you get the queen giving the check. All right, look at the computer saying rook over is the move still. But all right, here he comes, right? Here he comes. Queen to b2 check by Anderson. King comes down to f7. Now the rook swings over. Now the rook swings over to h3, folks. Okay? But, I mean, he's threatening to take h7, skewering the black king and queen, right? Like you just do something dumb. There you go. There you go. You're going to lose. I mean, you can't even block it because you see that queen down on b2, folks. Look at this. Holy smokes. Matter of fact, let's see, you're going to take the queen and then you're going to mate him, right? Can't you just, you're going to take him off. You're going to go this way. I was saying, why not go this way? Right? All right, you take the rook. Get him out of the game while you give the checkmate, right? All right. Excuse me here. I got a little sore throat going. It's been a while. All right. So, okay. So, I mean, the rook coming here. Now, get that. It's a good move, folks, but look at this. But now, queen to d4 is better. Threatening knight to e5 check. In fact, to the black, let's see. In fact, to this, black has no good defense. Rook to b4. Okay, and let's see, and queen to d8. Oh, I should say rook to c5. My fault. Rook to c5. Descriptive notation got me again, folks. Says rook to b4, meaning rook to queen bishop 4, but it's rook to c5. Okay, forgive me. Rook to c5 or bishop to c5 or queen rook to d8, all failing. See again, Chess Monthly, 1879, page 115. Well, let's look at these, all right? Let's look at these, okay? So the move, the question, they're saying the move for white was queen to d4. Let's try them out, right? Rook coming up. What are you going to do now, right? Rook to c5. Okay, they say to go over here anyway, threatening to take on h7. All right, king wants to go back. All right, now you take here. See that? You're going to win the h-pawn, right? What could he do? Okay. He takes here. You got the check. You're gonna come down and take over here. I mean, now you're on the seventh. The rook and the queen combine. He's threatening to come down. The check. I mean, he's got the queen to block, but all right. You know, it's White's game to win, right? He's got the initiative. Okay. So anyway. I mean, what else what does he have here? What does black have? This? Back up that D pawn. This is, I guess, basically this is defense, so the queen can't check on A4 and win this A pawn, right? How about that? He plays this. All right, now we protect our D5 pawn, right? And there you go. What are you going to come? Here you go. You come around here. Attack on the other side. Give the check. He goes back. You attack B6. Look at this. Trying to win the pawn, right? He puts the rook on C5 to block that threat. Secure F4. All right. Can black hold? I don't know. He's got that D pawn. Look at this. They're going to trade. Now he's got connected pawn, passed pawns. Look at this. B6 is hanging. All right, he gives the check. Going after F5. He's trying to go after H2. Right, folks? Here we are. The technique. All right, I think we're going to get a pawn coming in. Look at this. He's sacking this. What if he takes? What happens now, folks? There's no way to stop this guy, right? We're gonna get our queen with check. See that? Already comes into block. Only square. And I think White's got it now. White's got it under control. These rooks can't do anything. Alright, so White's up. He's clearly up. So on this crazy move, look at that, huh? He throws the rook right here. Take it. Alright, instead he goes for check, but now White controls the second rank with his rook on D2. No more checks for these black rooks, right? Alright, here we go. Which one's coming down first? This guy's coming down. He's going up. Alright, we save this guy. He's going for mate over here. All right, no can do. King could defend. He's going to set up a discovered check, right? But we blocked that pawn from moving up. Uh-oh, now it looks like White's going to do it, folks. All right, I guess you can't push either pawn yet. It's slow. It's very, you need the technique, right? All right, here he comes. There you go. You threaten the rook. Now you're threatening E8, right? And you're queening. So he's got to come back, and you're threatening the rook on G8. All right, look at this. You take him. He takes back. You capture this guy. No more trouble from that black E pawn. There he goes. He's going to try to gobble up these pawns, but you got this one coming down. You give the check. You're ready to trade. You're ready to trade on the E file. There you go. He goes over, you take. Now when he takes back, folks, it's too far for this one. And you finally get it through. See that? All right. Beautiful. Beautiful technique. Took a while, you know. Took a while, but you had the edge. You had a good enough edge. You see that? Going all the way back, I think it was just under 2, you know. So it goes to show you, you can milk it. There you go. It was like 1, let's see, where do we go? We go all the way back, right? Let's go up, I'll show you. See, it was around 1.8, 1.9, right, at this point. When the other rooks were on, it was just under 2, see? That's enough. That's enough if you play correctly, right? All right, so there you go. All this. You won that H pawn, and then it starts, right? You have the better position. Okay, so that doesn't work. Rook to C5, right? That doesn't work. Well, what about this one? What about the bishop attacking the queen? What do you do here, right? Oh, well, folks, look at it. Look. It's screaming, right? You get the knight fork, right? You get the knight fork. All right, now your knight's cemented in there on that post. Why trade queens yet? You don't need to. Your knight is great, right? Now you moved your queen. Let's see. That's where the queen wants to go. D1. All right. Now the black queen has to go to safety. All right. Now you get your queen coming in on H7 with check. All right. What could he do? He can't protect it, right, folks? Why? Why? Because the knight cemented in on E5. Beautiful outpost. You know that bishop's going to want to trade it off as soon as he can, if he ever can. Now wait a minute. He can't take on H7. Right? If he takes here with check, you block with the rook, and you're wasting time, right? You got to pull back. Then he gets the double, or okay, he goes there, whatever. All right. So let's see what his move. His move was G4, huh? Look at this. Already protects H7. If he was to take, right? Now the G file is closed. You see this? Look, he goes here. Oh, we get this one. Look at that. Open the diagonal up to take that one. Okay. Now even I don't know, he could maybe double and push that pawn, but for the time being, he doesn't have the time, I should say. He doesn't have the time to do it. Right? All right. So there you go. You get the rook over here to stop that pawn from being pushed. Right, and there you go. And the file's blocked. The black rook is blocked here with his own pawn for now. All right. And he's making headway. He's up a little, over 2, right? Look at that knight, folks. Look at that knight on E5. You got the passed D pawn coming down. No doubt. All right. I think that doesn't really help black. Bishop to C5. All right. And the last silly move, I don't know, is it silly? Queen rook to D8. All right, so what do we got going on here? And what do we got with the rook going to D8? All right, we play rook to H3, threatening to take the pawn on H7 again. All right, he blocks that. What do we got? The engine runs. As we come down and attack that bishop, right? Knight and rook attacking the bishop. All right, he tries to go after the queen. Here we go. We throw the check in. He moves. All right, queen back, threatening the check over here. Black's got to move because his queen is still under the gun. He takes here, right? We come in with the check. Does this lead to anything, folks? I don't even know. I'm looking at it now. This is fresh to me. Here we go. We win the H pawn. Is that the big deal here? We win this guy. All right, he trades. We take. All right, the black king looks like he's running out of breathing room over here. Got to be careful, though. Let's see. What do we got? This is to protect, I guess, F5, right, folks? What are we going to do? Check. He goes there. We come here with the check. Now, he doesn't want to step over here or a rook comes to the D file, right? Here we go. The rook gets in the attack. There you go. It'll be all over now, right? All right, first we check him this way. Then we take Oh, we take with check. Look at this. If we go there, we take him. You see what happens, though, folks? Now he's threatening mate on the back on D1 coming down. All right, we got the check to come in. I think we're winning anyway. But that's why when the king goes to C6, that's why we take the rook with check, and he can't. Well, he will take back because I guess he's going to be mated if he doesn't. See that? We win the queen that way. See that? But if he doesn't take, what's he do, right? If he moves, well, if he moves here, we take with check anyway. Rook takes. So look at that. Then, oh wow, this is unbelievable. He's pinned, folks. We don't even take here. I'm missing this stuff. I know it's getting a little long here. I know, but here we go. Look, you pin. You check. The black queen is pinned. All right, he can't go here because the knight. He can't go here because of the queen, right? The check. He can only go here, and then, all right, then you bag this guy. Look at this. It's all over. Is that something else? All right, anyway, okay. Now, on this move, he's got to take with the queen. But if he moves out, right, his only other move, well, now the queen comes in. And now he's really in trouble. We're going to take that black queen in a second. Where does he go? Here? All right, there we go. We take it. We pin the bishop. All right, you think black's got any hope left? I mean, come on, forget about it. All right, so there you go. Beautiful stuff, right? I mean, maybe that's just one way it could go because we are making the moves quickly, folks. But, all right, so that takes care of all the moves, right? With the queen, the D4, none of them work. The rook going to D8, the bishop coming to C5, the rook coming to C5. They're all failed, right? Just like the old master said. I figure we'd be thorough. We go over it. We don't have the old notes from Chess Monthly back in 1879, page 115. Maybe somewhere in the archives you could dig those up. All right, but anyway, so, you know, the queen going to D4 was the move. And here they go. Like, here we go. This is what Anderson plays, right? He plays rook to H3, and the footnotes end here saying rook to H3 allows black to play rook. This is what he plays, right? Morphy plays rook to G7, and then retire his king to G8. A retreat not available if white plays queen to D4. All right, now queen to D4 protects the D pawn in a way, but watch this. I'll show you. In a way, I'll show you. If we do this move and then he does this, okay? When you leap in the knight, he takes. If you take with the pawn, he wins this one. See that? The queen is on B2. He's not able to protect. Now, even if you grab this with check, then you got to go back and protect the back rank, okay? I mean, now it looks drawish, right? You both have an E-pawn trying to come down the queen. It looks very drawish. He's got 2 on the queen side. You got 1. But you got 2 on the king side. He's got 1. You know, it's pretty much a draw at this point, right? Now look, I mean, a Shredder is saying to bring this and pile up on here with the 2 of them. But still, look, let's go back. Looks very drawish. Now, if you take, I'm sure you're saying, well, I could take with the queen. And now, my D-pawn's protected. And, you know, play this, you back out of there, okay? You don't lose the D-pawn. But still, right, he doesn't lose the F-pawn. But, you know, it's still the same idea. It's drawish. You have a passed D-pawn. He has a passed E-pawn, right? It's still pretty drawish. Now, look at the difference, though, now. Watch this. It's the pawn structure concept, folks. You got to understand. It's not material in this scenario. Look. Instead of the rook going to H3, you do like they're recommending. Shredder recommends it. The old masters are saying queen to D4. But it's not so much originally Look, he could play this, and he could prepare. He could prepare king to g8, right? But now when you throw the knight in, you get your forking king and queen, right? Black king and queen. You got to take, okay? But now notice, it's not so much about losing the d pawn. It's that you don't take with the queen now. You don't have to, because the queen stays there and protects the pawn. You can take with the f pawn. Now, it's not material advantage, folks. It's the positional. It's the pawn structure. Now you got two connected pass pawns. You see, black's pawn over here with this one, they're not connected pass pawns, because this one on the F file has to eventually move up and meet its challenge, the G pawn, the white G pawn. He's not passed, okay? This guy is for black, and he's protected by the F pawn. But look, okay, he moves here because you see what's coming, folks. You see the devastating threat already. A pawn fork, right? Okay. You can't fall for this. I mean, then forget it. You lose the queen, obviously, right? You're winning a piece there. You're winning the queen out of all things. So that's on the card. That's on the table, right? It's in the cards, whatever the saying is. So, all right, say he wants to move here, like we were talking about in the other lines. Black could play rook to g7 and then retreat the king to g8, right? All right, so you did that. But look at what happened. You gave up. Look at this pawn structure advantage now. You got these passed pawns. You can start marching this guy down already, right? All right, so I don't know, he goes here. Is that where he wants to go? All right, now you challenge the rook, right? Now, if he takes the rook, folks, look what happens here, right? You take, now, can he take this guy, folks? Can he take it? Of course not. You come down with check. Folks, talking about back rank weakness, talking about white's back rank weakness. Look, talking about white's back rank weakness. Look at black's back rank weakness. Look, the pawn, folks, he can't. F7, I can't even highlight it. F7, folks, right here, look, right here. He's keeping the black king from stepping out. It's a back rank mate. You see that? All right, so he can't trade rooks. So if you were wondering, gee, he could win the D pawn now, right? No, back rank. Okay, goodbye. All right, so here we go. He can't trade. He retreats here. Okay. All right, look at this. We double him up. We're coming down. We're coming down, folks. All right, here we go. Look at this. We are, folks. We're attacking the queen, right? Why not? Here it is. It retreats, and now we're working our way in, folks. We're going into enemy territory. All right, we're getting ready. Look at that D pawn, ready to launch down, right? It's coming right down. All right, here he goes. Counterattack, folks. Don't do it now. Why? Because look at what happens to you. Checkmate, right? You got to watch your opponent. He's trying all the tricks. Okay, push here. You're fine. You're fine, right? Okay, here we go. What is he going to push this? He's going to push that. He doesn't know what to do. Look at himself. Look at this. All right, he's trying to come in somehow. All right, he comes up. He comes up here, I guess. All right, he wants to check on F3, right? Be a nuisance. Okay. You bring this one back. If you bring this one up to stop, the queen could come down there, right? So, be a real pain. So you bring this guy back. All right, here he comes. He's marching ahead, right? He's just giving it to us, folks. He's just giving it to us, right? I mean, what's the point? We could just grab it, I guess. But, okay, he likes this, I guess. He likes bringing it. Here you go. You bring, what do you do here? You do this. You do this. You're going to give it to us. All right, here we go. Look. We trade the queens. Fine. We could even take on the E3. All right, push these up. Put the pressure, right? We got the back rank covered. His 2 pawns can only come down one at a time, see? And our rook covers it, It covers that. No problem, right? Look at our pawns though. That's the difference, folks. The pawn duo. Side by side. All right, don't rush anything. I guess capturing makes more sense now. Look at this. Oh, wow. Look at this. You could take this one. If he takes here, you give the check, huh? I'm just going to say, what about this? All right, we give the check. He comes up. Now you push. He takes. Look at that. You win the rook, all right? Because what's he going to do? What can he do? You're coming down the queen. He can't come down. He can't do anything, right? All right, he's going to give up the rook board. There you go. You got him, right? There you go. There you chop him up. There you go. You're up a rook. Need I say any more, right? All right, so you see just how powerful the pawn duo, the two connected pass pawns are. See that? So going all the way back, you know, queen here allows you to recapture. All right, obviously he sees it. He doesn't want the knight coming in, right, on e5. He doesn't want this, the knight fork. But we're just talking about the other line, saying, oh, he could play this and then retreat the king. Now he can't do it, though, folks, because of what we just looked at. It gives him a tactical trick here. The fork, you got to capture. You don't want to lose your queen. And now it gives him the strategic pawn structure, right? He's got two connected pass pawns. Too much. It's too much trouble. It's positional now. It's positional. You know, material-wise, it's, let's see, it's equal. It's equal, folks. As the Russians try to hack. They're trying to hack into the knowledge, folks. We can't let them do it. All right, so anyway, that's what it's about. Now, with the queen over there and you're playing this guy over here, well, now he could pull it off, right? Now, Shredder says, go ahead, just take it. But if you go here, he chops, you know, okay. You don't want to lose the deep pawn, so you go there, and he hits you away, and you go there, and okay, he goes up here. You know, basically, he could retreat. He could retreat the. I guess he's gonna trade queens if he gets the chance. He's protecting his f pawn, and if they trade, the king protects the f pawn, right? So, all right, he comes over here, and it's a game, but it's pretty even. You see the difference? It's a big difference, folks. Look at this now. Why? If he takes over here, he attacks the rook. Rook goes there. Wow, look at this. Got to give it up, huh? You got to give up that guy. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, because you got your rook on his. All right, I see it. You come down, right, with the king moving. You're attacking the rook, but you're revealing your rook on g8. You're attacking the white queen on a7. I didn't even see that. All right, so anyway, he could sack it here. See that? He'll have to sack back. Here you go. You take, right? You take here. You block that. You protect your f pawn. Heck, Black's doing great now. He relieved all that pressure. He got rid of those two pawns, right? Wanted in the d pawn. He captured. The f pawn went over here now, right? They're not the same. No way. No way the same as the other position. See the difference? You know, folks, it's just one way it could go. I'm sure there could be better moves. I mean, here you go. You got to protect that rook to h5 is protect. You got to protect that f pawn, I guess. You go there, and all right, he comes down. He's putting pressure on. Maybe a check down here. I don't know. All right, so you move here, and folks, it's a game. You know, it's definitely a world of difference, right? A world of difference. Here you take here. What does he take down there with check, right? All right, so nowhere. Look, you get this. He's getting some of your pawns. You're taking his. What is he gonna go there? You trade him off, right? Okay. What are you gonna do if you go here? What does he do then? Right? What does he do now? He comes down here. You threaten, because if you move, you got mate. See that? Look at that threat. Queen moves, right? No checks for the black queen. She's on the dark squares. The white king's on the light squares. Can't get to f3. Can't get to that diagonal in any way. You got to back off, and look at what happens to you. Boom. Checkmate, right? No matter where the queen goes. Anywhere, right? Boom. Checkmate, folks. Got to watch that one. Look at this. So after that, you can't take that pawn. But anyway, okay, I don't know. Maybe look at the evaluation. It's half a pawn for white. He's got the initiative. I don't know. Maybe he can make something with this pass pawn up here now on the G file. I mean, Black's got the 2. If he could trade the queens off, forget about it. It slows down. And, you know, Black's got that past E pawn and now past F pawn, connected pass pawns. Forget about it. It's just a draw. Come on. I mean, look, all right, wait a minute now. The evaluation was a little over 1. Now it's 1. All right, but maybe white could still pull it out, right? Let's see. Let's just see. We'll do it to be silly. You know, to be silly here. We could have a laugh now and then. Let's see. He pulls them back. We're just doing it quick. We're doing it quick. I mean, it might not mean anything the way we're making these quick moves. Look at this. Look at this. You're going to give it to him. Look at this. There you go. Look, check. Love to see the tactics, right, folks? Come on, you got to admit it. Now, he can go down in queen, can he? Why not just queen right here? Let's see. Is this more accurate now? Why check with the queen? All right, so he goes down with it. He likes it now. Okay, he goes up. And there you go. You got 2 queens now. Okay, white's winning now, right? We did it quick. We did it quick. Let's see. On this, there's the check. Okay, he comes up. He throws it in there. He says, okay, he can't take it. He doesn't want to set himself up. All right, now here comes this guy with the check. Was he going to sack it? Is he going to do it? What's he going to do? All right, he's checking him around here. Let's see. He's making his way up. He's checking him like this. He's making his way up. What's he doing? All right, I don't know. Who knows, folks? He's going after this guy. Still got that. You got that G pawn. All right, so it's a fight. I don't know. Looks like black could hang on the way it's going. Is he going to get over to the queen side now? All right, he trades him off. Look at this. He trades him off. All right, you got the connected pass pawns, but hey, black's got him too, right, at this stage. Look at this. No way to protect that F pawn. Okay, here he goes. He chops that guy off. Black king is rook can't get behind the pawn with the black king there. All right, here goes the check. He's going to try to stop him. Look, here comes the other one. All right, you're going to back up your passed pawn. Here they go. There we go. They're going in, folks. All right, you take his. He takes yours. There you go. Well, come on. What are we talking about here? Is black winning? Is black winning now? What did white do wrong? We're doing it quick, folks. Where was it? Where was the mistake? Where was the mistake? Let's see. I'm looking at the engine here. I don't know. Here, it looks like it's a draw right now. He takes, pushes this guy. Give the check. Comes up. Give a check here. Oh, you get behind that one. All right. Well, there's the other one going for the run. He's running in. Let's see. He's going to support this guy. Here comes the white pawn. He's going to protect. Here comes the white pawn. There you go. Rook to defend. King to support. One step away. We're going to push. We're going to push with check. All right, king gets out of the check, the potential discovered check. All right, we're checking there. He goes there. We go back. All right, he comes up. You try to check. He goes back there. You try to set up the discovery. He comes back out. All right, there we go. And it's a stalemate there, right? A basic repetition. Repetition, right? Okay. Folks, you know, forgive me. It was quick. Some cute little tactics there in the end game. Okay, that you could pick up some little tricks that you could try on your opponent. If he's not looking closely, you could catch him. But, you know, you got to admit, you know, it's a battle still, and there's no doubt about it. This point right here, the whole concept of what we're talking about, where all this came from, is to take like this with the queen is nowhere the same if you're able to move in here, right, and then jump the knight in and take with the pawn. Forget about it. This was a totally different outcome. White wins easy. He wins easy, right? This is all we're trying to say here. Difference in pawn structure. Black can't afford. He can't afford with queen to d4. He can't afford to bring the rook up and try to tuck the king in on g8 and king safety. There's no time to do it. No way. He loses the pawn structure, right? He totally gives up the advantage all to white. It's all white's game now with this pawn structure, okay? So that's how it prevents this maneuver, right? But now, okay, let's go into the game, right? After the king to f7, Anderson moves the rook here, right? He moves the rook. All right, let me pull out the book again because we were using the engine. All right, rook to h3, okay? And now you got, okay, Anderson protecting h7, right? Here comes the queen now. And guess what, folks? King to g8, exclamation point. See that? So now, what does the engine decide now if he was to throw the knight? Well, there's no knight fork. We're not forced to take and give him this, right? Look at the engine. Take with the pawn. Get the pawn duo. Pass pawn, connected past pawns. Forget about it. You come, okay, he goes down here. He attacks the rook. Okay, and it's still a fight. Matter of fact, the engine's saying black's a little better, right? So, at this stage, you know, maybe let it run. It's a little closer. But hey, it looks like black is doing fine. He's doing fine now, right? So, after king to g8, exclamation point, here we go. Anderson tries to pile up on the bishop, right? Okay, bishop retreats to f8, setting up, you know, a threat. I don't know, let's just do, well, he's just giving the pawn away with that useless move. How about you do this, right? Oh, then you can just pin. All right, I'm trying to find a useless move. I mean, that would be a disaster. Forgive me, folks, that's a joke, a blunder worth noting. Look at this. Holy cow, I really stepped in it there, huh? I'm just looking for some dumb move. Usually you move the king back and forth. I move a pawn on the queen side. It doesn't mean anything so much to the position. So, okay, there you, like, all right, the point I'm trying to get at is if you could sack your rook and you could pick up this guy. You see, you want a pawn. Like, this is what I'm trying to set up, trying to show you. With the bishop coming back, you gotta discover attack on the rook on h8, h6. You're able to you know, I don't know, you're able to move your rook, see? And then you can take over here. See, you win a pawn. Okay, so that's a threat right now. Bishop back, threatening to win a pawn. Rook takes g2, right? Okay. Well, look at this. Anderson with the tactics here. He's putting the pressure. Here comes here comes the pawn up, right? Well, he decides not to go here. He doesn't take there. See. Double up there. You get the check. He goes in the corner. You push this attack in the rook. The rook blocks the pawn and covers, gets out of danger there. You take. He takes back. You can't take back this way because then the pawn goes in queens. And there you go, right? All right, you got the extra piece, right? You're up there. And okay, so obviously he takes like this. Now you're able, because the queen took on f8, you're able to take the rook. Okay, he goes back with a check. You go back. You're gonna play rook to g1, I guess, next, right? There you go. Where's the check? He goes to block. You win the f pawn. He's threatening mate on g2 while you take here and you cover g2. And you got the knight. You got the knight still, folks, okay? All right, so there you go. There's one way. All right, so he decides to move the rook to f7, right? Now the bishop's attacking, all right. So Anderson, he retreats the rook to h3. Now, it says here, if he throws the knight in here with a fork, looks good. You're attacking the queen, but it's superficial. Look at this. The queen could get out of danger, threatening mate. So you don't even have time to take there because he gets, well, he doesn't get mate. Okay, he wins the rook. And look at this. You're threatening mate now. He can't take, right? Look at that. So what do you do? What does he do now? You can't do anything, actually. You can't take or it's mate. You can't make a hole because then he takes you and it's mate, right? Can't make a hole in any way. There you go, right? So it's devastating. He goes here and it's all over, right? He's just buying time now. There you go. Look. And it's mate on the back rank. Gotta watch those back rank setups, folks. Dangerous. Okay, so the knight can't leap in. He can't leap in, so he'd have to retreat. And okay, you take this one. If he wants to take you, you win the knight. You'll be up a minor piece. You still got your bishop. He goes here, big deal. You come down, he pushes here. All right, let's see. He gets him that way. And it still looks like black's up. Matter of fact, if he leaps this guy up, right, you undermine him. Look, you undermine him. Bishop takes pawn, undermines the knight, right? Okay, so anyway, I don't know. At this point, it looks like black's better. Black's doing better, right? He's up a pawn. He's got the passed e-pawn, and he can make another passed pawn on the queen side, 2 against 1, right? Okay, so anyway, so that's what the old masters were saying. Knight, the knight leaping in, you come and attack the rook. Instead of queen back, they give rook over here. Double them up on the d file. All right, so you take here, and that's it. What do you got? White's got nothing now for it. White's got nothing now. He wants to harass the queen a little bit. Big deal. He takes here. He's going to push to block it. He doesn't have check. Luckily, the queen's covering it, right? All right, so there you go. He's going to try to break him up. Big deal. All right, there you go. Black holds. He's got the extra piece. It's just a matter of time, okay? All right, so we go back. So Anderson, you know, after bishop here, pawn up, rook to f7. He's in fire from the bishop there, so he pulls him back. Wise choice, right? What else can he do? All right. So now you got queen to, look, Shutter finds it, queen to a5, right? Pinning queen to a4, pinning the knight, right? Threatening to win the knight on c4. Okay, so here comes Anderson defends, rook to c1, and now you got okay, rook to c5. It says here, the old masters say this stops the threat of queen to d5 to e6. All right. For instance, let's just look like, okay, you could play something like that. He would pin it. All right, there's other, you know, again, the game could go a million different ways, right? So with this rook up, I mean, rook up stops the queen from coming in, keeps the rook pinned. Okay. So what does Anderson do? Okay, we got rook check, bishop blocks. Now Anderson makes a hole for his king, right? All those little tactical maneuvers, those little pitfalls and stuff, he, you know, Anderson takes care of that by giving his king an escape square by pushing h3. Okay, so no more back rank mates. But here you got Morphy. The bishop's pinned on g7, right? Well, he gets his king out of the pin. He gets the, moves the king so the bishop's not pinned anymore. And look at this, Anderson chops it off. A sacrifice for which there was no necessity, since queen to d2, and look at that, Shredder finds it, queen to d2 left him with the superior game still in every variation. Okay? Now, if you look at the engine, still under 1, but he does have the little plus, right? 0.79, who knows, right? It's still a fight, but that would have been the better move. Queen to d2, right? Getting out of the attack of the bishop. But all right, Anderson, right? Aggressive. He chops him right out. He chops him off. And of course, Morphy takes back. And now you got rook up. Rook up. I mean, this is natural for, think of it, folks. This is, I mean, come on. This is just too tempting for Anderson. Look at what he does. He chops this guy off. Okay, the rook has to take back. But now it's pinned, folks, right? So what is Anderson's idea? Rook up, pile up on the pin piece, right? You move it up, and look, this rook can't even come to the defense because the pawn covers it, right? So the rook can't even come to c7, or else the pawn will capture. All right. So rook up, and now you got it says it also gives queen to f6 deserves consideration, because this is threatening with the rook pinned on g7. It threatens to push the pawn because he's now covering with the queen. You would be covering the queening square, the d8 square. So the rook, again, if he tries to come back, we got this coming over, going to swing over, right? What's he going to do? I mean, for instance, if he takes over here, right, instead, if he takes the knight, well, you get the check. He comes back, okay, and you go for the draw, okay? It's a draw now. So this would have been consideration, but again, we're talking about Anderson. He's not going for the draw, right? He's going for the win. So that's why he does. I guess he doesn't want to give Morphy that chance. He wants to play this as more aggressive. The not queen here, but rook up, trying to take advantage of that pin of the rook on g7, right? Now again, this move, it's threatening right now, okay, if black's not paying attention. Well, yeah, he can go for the draw, I guess. He sets up the draw. That's the main thing. I'm looking at, he possibly can push the pawn here now, but he can't because the queen covers it. All right. I was just thinking, because there's no way the rook could come back. The pawn covers that, the c8 square, so I guess he could maybe even go that way, but okay, the queen covers it. All right. So the main idea of this coming down is not to promote the pawn, but to just go for the draw. You get the draw. So that's why black would bring the queen back. Okay, that stops any queen check on the back rank. And now white would prepare to push the pawn. Now rook behind, backing up that d pawn. If he takes here, he's in trouble now. See, here you go. Rook on g7 can't take its pin. If the queen takes, well, there you go. What do you think? What do you think? Is it mate? Nope. Not mate anymore, folks. He's got the h2 square, remember? And he's basically, he's a goner now. He's got nothing left. See? Rook was pinned still the whole time. Mate was just waiting. Okay, no back rank weakness anymore. So pawn coming down, folks, what do you do, right? He can't take this knight. Pawn up. There you go. He's going to go like this. You don't even take the queen, because look at this. He has to take. Now rook down, right? Now you win him. You win. You're up now, big time. Look at this. Now he's pinned. You start gobbling him up. Okay? Easy win, queen versus rook endgame, right? So, he can't take that knight, folks. After rook over, he's going to threaten to push the pawn. He can't take the knight. All right, he goes for mate on g2. Look at this. He goes for mate on g2. He pulls back the queen, protecting g2 and keeping that rook on g7 pinned. Again, can he take, folks? Can he take? No, he cannot. Because then you push the pawn and it's coming down. What could he do? He can't stop it with this guy, right? He can't stop it with the rook, g7, still pinned, right? How can the queen come back and stop him, right? Goodbye. He can't get behind the pawn. The rook over here will take him out, right? Matter of fact, you just X-ray, folks, X-ray. You just queen it, and then you win him this way, and it's mate, right? Rook on g7, still pinned. Tactics, folks. 99% of this game. I got to wake you up. Come on, tactics, right? All right, he comes up here, you drop back. What's he going to do? Oh, he's going to threaten to take your rook over there on d1. Big deal. Here you go. You save your knight now. Remember he's hanging? All right, not anymore. Knight e3 protects the rook. Okay, he comes down because you know this guy's coming up. Rook, g7, still pinned, folks. What are you going to do about that, right? All right, there you go. Queen's trying to blockade. What's this? You're going to open it up? Look at this. All right, here we go. He gets the check. Was this the right move, folks? Was this the right move? He takes. All right, he's going to give it to him. He's going to give him this. I guess because he's trying to queen that pawn down there. Oh, okay, no more checks. Got to run back to protect that d8 square. Else the pawn's going in. All right. It's still a close fight. It's still close. It's under a pawn for white. He's got that pawn on the 7. Rook remains pinned on g7. All right, he's down the exchange. He's got a dangerous passed pawn, but he's down the exchange. I guess black's going to try to get out of the pin. Right, there you go. And now, can that exchange mean anything? Well, that's the big question. So it's still a fight. All right, it's still a fight. Black's got this past e4 pawn, right? Who knows? The knight blockades. It's funny how all the pieces, they fall into their roles. Knight is a great blockader, right? Rooks belong behind the passed pawns. There you go. Rook d1. So it's still a fight. What is it? 4 pawns to 4 pawns. White's down the exchange. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay. So Black's fighting on in that line. I guess he's got a chance to survive. But okay. How did we even get here? I don't even remember, folks, to be honest with you. All right. Rook over to f7. Okay, what did we talk about? Rook back by Anderson. Oh, yeah. Okay, here you go. Queen a4 by Morphy. Rook to c1 to defend that pin knight. Right after rook to c1, rook up to keep the queen from coming in enemy territory, and then you got the check. The bishop blocks. It's pinned. All right, make a little escape square. h3 for the white king. Now the black king gets to h8. No more pin on the bishop. And here you go. He sacks. Rook remains pinned. This, queen to f6. All right. We really exhausted looking at it. Looks like it's no clear win for white. Here's Anderson. Common sense. Pile up on the pin piece, right? Okay. Rook to c3. What a battle, huh, folks? What a battle. Here it is. Black to make his 39th move. And here you have pawn to e3. Look at Morphy pushing this guy. Past pawns were meant to be pushed. Look at this e3. It looks impossible. The queen can take. The knight can take. The rook can take. Well, we all know of what happens here, right? Well, of course. But I'm just saying it's stepping right in. It looks like it's stepping on a landmine. Anyone could grab it, right? Well, here we go. Here we go. we got a long analysis. Not like the rest of this game wasn't long, right? But here we go. Very interesting. We got the two Titans, Anderson, Morphy. Come on, we want to really analyze it, right? So here we go. This is the last big moment now. Steinitz erroneously condemned this move and claimed a win by rook to b1. Rook to b1 for Morphy. Rook to b1. There you go. Look at it. Look at that. The engine even saw that move for a second. Rook to b1, okay? But now look at this. The old masters come out and they say, but if rook to b1, then rook to g3, right? Threatening mate on g7. Rook on g7 is pinned, right? Well, then here's what they give. Here they go. Rook over to g8 to protect that rook, right? Here comes the queen now to f6. Getting ready to push that pawn, baby. Okay. They give queen. Disregard Shredder's move, right? The check on d1 for now. They give queen to e8, okay? Because obviously, if the queen takes, the old masters say it is answered by pawn down, right? Now the queen comes back. You take. He takes. You take with check. He takes. Hello. Pawn goes diving in. Promotion, and that's it. There you go, right? Queen versus rook endgame. White win. Okay. So there you go. So he can't take the knight. He's got to come back on the defense. Ignore queen to d1 check for now. Here we go. The old masters. Queen to e8 for the defense. You get the rook takes rook. All right. Now you got the other rook is pinned. Okay, so now you got knight to e5. Here he comes, diving into the outpost finally, right? All right. Now, king's got to get out of that pin. So if white pushes the pawn, the rook covers, right? The rook's not pinned anymore. He could take, right? So it's defense. So he moves the king to g8. Here we go. White would take a pawn. He'd grab a pawn. He's going to try to run in, right? So now they both got the passed pawns. Here comes the other one. Defended by the knight, right? Now, the old masters give queen to d8 to blockade. If queen to e7, you got this amazing move like Shredder sees. Queen to e6 check, forcing the same position that we're going to get when the queen goes to d8. We're gonna look at it, but let's just look. Let's see what happens here. The king moves over, right? Now the queen's gonna try to support pushing the d pawn. Okay, he's got to block it, right? He's got to block it from coming in. No other way. All right, here you go. You give him the check now. He moves over. Okay, and look at this. Shredder finds this move, right? Knight. Look at this, folks. Look at this. Right? What's he going to do? If the queen moves, you promote, right? The knight supporting, the queen supporting. If this guy moves, you know, what are you going to do? You could take. You could push, right? I mean, what are you going to... Let me make sure this is right here. Can't you just push? But then he comes up. He'll come up to... no, he takes. There you go, right? All right, you're winning here anyway, right? You're winning here. And obviously on this, right? You could, if he comes up, you could take. He could go here. You could queen, right? Come on, folks. Come on. He blocks. Big deal, right? What are we talking about? I'm looking at it quick, right? You know, black's busted. After this move, he's busted. He takes this. Looks like the obvious move, but look at this. You check, folks, right? You check. The queen can't block, else queen takes queen, right? So he's got to go to the escape square, and voila, look at this. Knight back to e5. The outpost. All right, it's all over. Goodbye. And here we go again. We got the queen versus rook endgame, right? Need I say more? Okay, so that's what ends up happening. After this, if the queen comes to e7, they give queen to d8, right? Queen to d8 is the better move, but here we go. It's going to end up, we're going to have the same results. Here we go. Queen here with the check. Forcing the same, let's see, wait. King there. All right, they give king over, right? Queen. I said king there. Queen to e6 check. King over. All right. Here we go. Queen check. Where does he go, folks? He's only got one square, right? If he goes here to block, well, then we go here, mate, right? Beautiful. All right, so after this, he's got to go there, only square, and here we go. We could come in with the knight again, right? We come in with the knight. Just looking at the play. Yeah, there we go. We come in with the knight. The old masters, what did they give? I think it's different. King to knight one, you got king. Oh, they're giving this. Okay, knight wins. It's the same position as before, right? But here's what they give. They give the king moving over here. All right. And he comes in trying the queen, right? All right, now we give the check. He comes over here. This is the old masters. It's a little more complicated. Here you go. You stop black's pawn, okay? And there you go. You're good to go. There, you got the win. If he comes in queens, big deal. You take, right? What's he gonna do? He gets a check. What's he gonna do? I don't know. He goes here. You go with the check. He moves over. Hey, folks, we already saw he's getting out of any checks for the black queen. I guess he protects G2. Goes over there, right? This is harder. This is much. The old masters just left it at this, right? They left it at this. Look, king up, and that they just said, and there it is. White wins. I mean, yes, he's got the advantage. You could see he's got the advantage. He's down the exchange, but folks, the pawns are such a threat. This D7 pawn. So I mean, after he starts playing, I mean, we had him easily. It's a little more complicated. But white, you had him with this, right? We just looked at it. It's all the same. Look, goes here, you take, he takes, right? We check, he moves in. Here we go. We grab this guy trying to make a run for it, right? Big deal. There you go. He gets the check. No back rank weakness anymore, folks. There you go. And now they give another little note with, let's see, 39. Okay. Let's go all the way back. Okay. Oh, and again, oh, my mistake. Look, again. Remember this, folks. They go there. This is the line they're given, right? And with the queen down, remember, folks, queen to E8 was what they gave. But what about this, right? The queen comes down and checks, king up, okay? Now he goes here, threatening. Folks, did you notice? Look, let's make a dumb move. He's threatening now to turn the tables, even though the rook on G7's pinned. You take, and then you mate. You see that? A pinned piece could still lend support, folks. So there you go, right? Black would turn the tables, sneaky, right? So he's coming down. Of course, we're not going to play A4, right? He's going to trade, my mistake. Little slip. And then here you go, right? He's going to go in for the draw now because there's no time. Whoops. There's no time to try to push, folks, because here it is again. Look. Here it is again. You want to go to G1, no different. See that? The pinned rook could still lend support. Remember that, folks. All right, so anyway, there you go. See, Shredder finds something not mentioned in the old master's notes. You know, Steinitz erroneously condemned this move and claimed a win by rook to B1. Okay? Rook to B1. All right? So, after these moves, he's kind of on the right path, but he doesn't follow it up. He gives this. He should have looked at this move. Then he would be right. It would pretty much be a draw now because it's like you know, keep repeating. You keep repeating. Look, He goes, okay, he tries to come up with something different. He goes there. He takes, and there you go. You finally get the draw. Oh, look at this. He doesn't want the draw. Goes there. Now he's got this pass pawn coming down. You give the knight. Is it going to just be a draw? Is that what he did? He sets up the draw. All right, okay. So Steinitz missed that, the queen to d1 check, okay? So anyway, they're saying, okay, that was Steinitz. Now there's another move that the old masters mentioned here. The badness of king to g8 was pointed out by Morphy himself. The reply being rook over, right? Queen to d7. If rook takes rook, then pawn to d7. No stopping it now, folks. He's going in on d8. No one could stop him. So he'd have to give up the queen. And now get a load of this. If he does take the knight, look at this. You could check here or here. Doesn't really matter, right? And you pick up the rook. Now it's once again it's a rook versus queen endgame. White's in it. White's winning it, right? It's in the driver's seat. I'm trying to say. All right. So you can't go there, right? There you got the rook over. Okay, the other line. Queen to d7. Okay. So now the knight leaps in. And when rook takes, right? Rook takes. What do you think you do, folks? Well, you take this one first. Okay? King recaptures. Now you take back. Not with the queen, folks. Not with the queen, right? You take back with the pawn. Pressure once again. Pressure. Right? You're threatening. Look at this. Look, it discovered check by the white queen. And then the pawn picks up the black queen. You see that? All right. So here you go. I mean, now, what's this? The best move for he gets out of the check, the discovered check. All right. However, I guess he's going to come over just to make sure this pawn's not any trouble. Right now, the queen's going to come up, supporting the pawn push. Right there it is. What's he going to do, folks? What's he going to do? He's going to threaten to come down and start checking the white king, I guess. Right, here he comes. He's going to try what he can. Queen to e5 was to prevent this one. See that? See that? Queen here. Not only that, it's going to support the pawn still. Maybe he's going to push the e pawn next. But after this, there's no check for the black queen. See that? All right, he's coming here to try to, with the pawn on h4, it's going to lend some support, but he's still covering it with his own, you know, there's just no hope. That's why he's doing it. Okay, there you go. You take, all right, he goes here. All right, he's delaying it. Now, the black king could stop these white pawns on e7 and d6. The white king has to babysit the pawns on f5 and e4, but look at what we have, folks. Let's see. Wow. Oh, he's got this pawn if he wants, right? A passed H pawn. But that might give black time to try to make a passed, pawn on the B file over here on the queen side. But look at this. He ignores the pawn. If he goes in, look. If he tries to run in, look at this. He comes up. And if he tries to run in, he's one move too short. Look at that. Checkmate. Checkmate with two pawns, a la Anderson, right? Can you imagine that? That would make the newspapers, folks. All right, you gotta love it. All right, so at this stage, right? I guess maybe the black king, yeah, he's gonna stop these guys. He takes. He's gonna have to. Maybe he'd have to go here, right, to keep the king from going in, and then maybe push his pawn. But no. My mistake. No chance, folks. Because if he pushes now, you see what happens. He doesn't get here in time. Check, right?
The white queen supports, and then you pick up that guy. So you can't do it that way, right? So, you know, black's goose is cooked at this point. After this, forget it. He's got nothing left. If he wants to take here, you march the other guy to E8, queen, right? Just buying time. There's nothing he can do, nothing more. And there you go, right? Okay. So there you go. We get it. We got that one under control. Right? Beautiful. See that? So once the knight dives in again, right? Last time it was the bishop taking it out, giving you those 2 pawns, right? Now the rook sacks, and you get it this way. Okay? So none of it works. Okay? None of that works. That's all after Anderson's rook to c3. A lot of tactics, a lot of good lines. I could see why Anderson's playing into this. This does not work. Very bad. Trying to get that rook out of the pin. You don't think Anderson saw this stuff? Come on. Come on. You got to get with it. You got to dummy up. All right. So now, this is Morphy, right? Now, wait, there's still a little left of those notes. You know, after all that, we looked at it, says, let's see. Oh, if in the last variation, black was to play, okay, in the last variation, right? After king here, we pin, right? If he was to play queen, let's see. In the last line, he was to play 41. This is not move 41. He plays, oh, okay. He plays the queen back on move 40. Then the knight comes in. Ah, okay, right here. If he is to play the queen back, okay, to d8, white still wins with rook takes rook check, king takes rook, pawn to queen 7, pawn to d7, I should say. Descriptive notation again, folks. And then we go in with queen to d6, forcing rook takes knight. What's being threatened, folks? What's being threatened? Well, the check, king here, and look at that. You work yourself in, you're going to get the queen, right? There you go. You're going to work your way in, and you're going to penetrate, and then, you know, you're going to force the pawn to come in. I mean, if he takes, you know, you just promote, get your queen back, and now he's down the queen. All right, so he's going to force him. Oh, look at this. You go there, and then you could go this way, right? All right. This doesn't do anything, right? What's he going to do? Look at this. He takes. You take here, you win, right? All right. All right. It's getting a little silly, right? It's getting a little silly. So this, I was just showing the threat. So they're saying he's going to have to sack after queen to d6, forcing this. And here you go. You got the 2 pawns again. All right. So he's going to try to march that guy. All right. Look at this, folks. Look at this one. You'll love it. You got to love it, right? He comes out, right? He comes out. And what do you do, folks? What do you do? Look at this. You check, right? He's got to take. If he moves, you're gonna capture his queen, right? If he moves, you're just gonna take the queen. So he's got to take. Now you take back with check. He has to capture, right? You take your queen with check. I can't even get it out. He goes here to try to support. Good luck. Good luck. All right, he doubles. He protects with this guy. All right, it's all over. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. Where's he going with this pawn? If he was to advance the pawn here, right? Come on, folks. Let's see. What do you do? Oh, you just check over there, right? You check over there. I mean, you could come back and stop it, right? But look at this. You just win it. You just come and win it. It's not even close. Come on. There's nothing going on here. There's no fear. Now, what if he just moves, right? If he can't stop our pawn. He can't stop it. Look at this. If he goes here, we go in, right? We go in. And he's trying to go down there. Goodbye, right? Check. Ha, ha, ha. Let's see. I think you get made here. You go there. Look at this. Look at this.
Come on, already takes there. All right, you take there. All right, you don't get mate yet. But look at that. Just in time. Gobble them up, right? All right, that was fun. Okay, that would have been great. Okay, so now, I know it's exhausting, folks, but guess what? That's the end of that long analysis, and now we're coming to the end. We're coming to the end. I know this was a marathon session, but this was some fight. All right, here we go. So all this, right? All this, Steinitz claiming, he's claiming after Anderson's rook to c3, this is no good. That's at the end of the notes. Steinitz was trying to say this holds, all right? But here's Morphy with the better move. It's better than all of them, right? It's better than them. Well, let's see. Maybe it's not better. I don't know. It's not better because look at this. Here's Anderson taken with the rook because he wants to. Now he just figures, all right, I won the pawn. Now I want to continue with swinging my rook over there. But look, he misses something now after this one, right? Here they go. They say white could have drew with either queen takes pawn or the queen over here coming down, going for those checks, right? Here comes the queen to try to save. Okay, Zuckertort remarks on the vitality of white's game when, even after a series of weak moves, the last few moves by Anderson weren't best, but they were good moves, but okay. They're saying after a series of weak moves and being the exchange down, he reduces black to one move only, which was pawn to e3, okay? And that should have done no more than draw, okay? So Anderson has the initiative, and he's still got a good game, even though he didn't make the best moves. So it's just that Zuckertort's trying to credit Anderson as still having a good game, despite a few weaker moves, not the best moves being played. But, hey, looks good to me. I mean, look at all the tactics that were involved. His rook to c3 had a lot of pitfalls. He could have bagged Morphy. Who knows? Morphy's strong enough to see through it. He plays this one, right? Okay, and what does Anderson do? He doesn't take. This would have drew. This would have drew. He takes with the rook. He's stuck on piling up on that rook on the pinned on g7, the black rook. He's still focused on it now. Now look at what happens. Rook takes. Rook takes. Okay? Now, yes. Schroeder finds this move. It still draws, folks. It still draws. This is what Zuckertort, I guess, is talking about. Because before this, Anderson made good moves. Now, I guess he plays a series of bad moves prior to all this, right? He's now made rook takes, which was not good, not accurate. And after this, it allows, the rook to take. And now he doesn't play queen to e5. That would have held. Look at this. That would hold. Look. He takes there, right? Look there. Look. If he takes the rook, right, you got this one. This is the setup, folks. Remember this pattern. Look, you go all day and night, right? Okay, he'd get the perpetual check, okay? So even this, all right, he take there. All right, you get this check. He goes there. I don't know. You get this check. He blocks. You're pushing the pawn, right? He takes. What's he going to do? He's going to try to get this one. I guess black's going to win now. He's got nothing now. All right, so black is going to win. But white's busted, right? So let's see on this move. They're saying here's what Anderson does, right? He goes to f6, and it says too late now. Okay, this move's too late now. Queen to e5 by the old masters, they're saying was better. Though queen to d2 was a sufficient answer to it. So I guess they're saying this would have been able to maybe get the win for black. And it's okay. So now it does show. Black is winning. And here you go. Schroeder finds this. He takes here. Still trying to do that perpetual check. You don't take the rook even though it's unguarded. Okay? You end up getting perpetual check, right? Okay. We looked at it. So he goes for here. Look at this. He keeps that pin, maybe.
What's the best? What's the best? That doesn't work. We already looked at that one. Here comes the rook coming down. He takes. I guess he's shot. He's totally shot. Yeah. Eventually, black gets it and he wins. So even with queen to e5, he still loses. Okay, he still loses with this. The Old Masters give this. So, okay. Anderson tries, like I said, this one in the Old Masters state. Too late now. Too late now. So the rook comes down with check. Okay. King up. He's got the escape square, but look, folks, there you go, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, right? It's still, the rook on g7 still lends support. There you go, okay? It's checkmate. So, after king up, queen takes pawn check, white resigned, okay? Anderson lost in a tough battle. I mean, he should have held that game. He should have held it. But, hey, what can you do? The pressure's on. He's playing Morphy. All right? Not easy. Not easy. So there you go, folks. Another one in the books. I know it was long. I was getting tired, you know. At least you have a chance to maybe take a break, come back to it. I had to take a break and start up again. I tell you, it was tough. It was tough. I can't even finish my sentences at this point. My brain is fried, as you can tell from some of those later lines. I was missing the obvious. All right, it all happens to the best of us, right? And it happened to Anderson here. What could you do? He had a nice game going. It was tough. He was fighting on pretty hard. I like this rook to c3 move. All right, but who would have thought, right? Who would have thought e3, folks? Would you have come up with that move? I don't know. That's a tough one there. All right, so anyway, it is what it is, right, folks? Like they say. I don't even know what that means, but like I said, I'm fried right now. It is what it is. And you got to stay tuned to see what it is in the next game of Morphy's Games of Chess. Good night. Signing out. Have a good night. Sweet dreams.